One of the deans of Baltimore sports these days, Keith Mills from BAL, will join us. Talk not only about the Ravens, but also a nice win for Navy football. Much needed down at East Carolina over the weekend as they get ready for Air Force. Gotta bring that music down a little bit, Griffin. Allergies kicking my butt. I know I'm not the only one. It's a common problem. Very frustrating. I hate it. Got to do something about it. We fought wars on drugs. We fought wars on terrorism. You hear that? You hear how pleasant that sounds? Right there in my throat. Ugh. Gross. I'm sorry. I don't like the way I sound. I don't like the way I feel. I don't like the post-nasal, the drip. Ugh, the drip. God. But I am happy to be here. It is a Monday edition of the program. Today's show brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. Monday Night Football tonight. The best place to watch and bet on every game all season long is the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. And the cool thing about the FanDuel Sportsbook is that right now you go in, you make a $25 bet on any parlay with plus 500 odds or better. Or longer, I guess is the way I'm supposed to say that. Or longer. And you're going to get a $5 free bet. It's capped at $50, so you can only get as much as $50 in free bet. But $25 parlay bet, you get $5. You can come back next week. You can use it on the same game parlay of also plus 500 odds or longer. So a great opportunity for you to get 2 bites at the apple right now in the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. I guess I should have also mentioned that we are scheduled this morning to be joined by Ravens cornerback Brandon Stevens as well after the win in Foxborough. So all that coming up on the program today. The theme yesterday on our postgame show on 105.7 The Fan for Rita and I was relief or celebration. And it's not an easy question because, as most people kind of agreed, it's somewhere between the two things. It's for sure relief because the Ravens flirted with disaster for a little while yesterday. There's definitely an amount of relief involved. You can't walk away from yesterday just saying, boy, the Ravens were brilliant, dominant, whoop that ass. I mean, I guess you could say that if you'd like to, but it wouldn't be a fully accurate portrayal of how the game played out. So there has to be an amount of relief involved. But then there's the debate about how difficult it is to win in the NFL and the fact that the Ravens have never won a regular season game in Foxborough until yesterday, and how difficult it is to win on the road in the NFL in general, and looking around at teams like the Bills, who admittedly are playing a team that we believe is very good, and the Dolphins, but the Chiefs, who lost on the road against a Colts team that looked disastrous through the first 2 weeks. It deserves to be celebrated to some extent. It's not easy to do this in the NFL, and there were a lot of things to like, starting with Lamar Jackson. 5 touchdowns. Obviously, there's a lot to like there. There's reason to feel like maybe the run game started to turn the tide a bit yesterday. I still think the Ravens got away from it too much, particularly in the first half. They put together a nice drive with a little bit of the run mixed in. And then the next 2 possessions, they decided they didn't want to do that. And the 3 possessions where they didn't score in the first half all had something in common. Not a single run from a running back. And I get it. Like, I've talked about this before, that situations sometimes dictate that. If you call a pass play on first down and it's incomplete, you're behind the sticks. Or if you get sacked or something like that, you're behind the sticks. It takes the run out of the equation for that set of downs. But it's still frustrating that on a day where it looked like they had figured out how to run the ball again. They kind of got away from it as the half went on. Now, they went back to it in the second half, and that was a good thing. Justice Hill obviously looked very good in the second half. And I saw just enough from J.K. Dobbins, presuming he was on a pitch count yesterday, to make me feel good about what could be coming in the next few weeks from J.K. Dobbins. And if at some point this season you get to a backfield of Dobbins, Edwards, Hill, you have reason to feel good about that. Of course, you knock on every piece of wood that you can possibly find when you say those things. But that was a positive to me, is that it showed promise that they might be able to mix the run back in and not only have an outstanding quarterback and the strongest passing attack that we have seen in years, but also be a team that might be able to bleed clock, that might be able to take the air out of the ball again, something that they weren't necessarily interested in doing. They were just trying to push yesterday. But in the future, that could perhaps be the case. And that would be more pressing against some of the better offenses that you face. They couldn't do that against the Dolphins. They might need to do it against the Bills next week. And I don't know yet that they can, but they showed signs that maybe they could be able to do that, and that's a positive thing. The defense on the whole was not great. But when they needed to be, they were playmaking. Marlon Humphrey making the interception in the back of the end zone. Kyle Hamilton with the, hopefully the play that kind of turns around his young tenure as a Baltimore Raven. Tracking it down, forcing the fumble. Marcus Peters an excellent job of sliding in order to complete the turnover. When they needed to make plays, the defense made some plays. They're still quite depleted, particularly up front, a problem that was exacerbated by an injury to Justin Houston yesterday. They are still not necessarily a good's unfair. They're not a particularly good unit on the whole, statistically. But as I've talked about before, it's difficult to be a good defense in the NFL in 2022. And I can settle for being a playmaking defense instead of being a statistically great defense. I'm okay with that because the rules make it almost impossible to be a statistically great defense. I get it. There are team rankings, and the Ravens are very low in those as well. But the game against the Dolphins was, we're only 3 games into a season. There's only so much evidence that we have to work with. There's a long way to go. If they're the team that makes plays when plays need to be made, that's a good defense in the NFL. Now, we've got 1 game of evidence of that. They've got to continue to be able to prove that. And they certainly were not that type of defense 1 week earlier. But if they can be that type of unit, that would go a long way. I don't feel overwhelmed about it, but there was a lot of good. There was a lot that made me feel better. I'm not surprised the Ravens are home dogs against the Bills next week. I think they should be. I think the Ravens should be home dogs against the Bills. I think the Ravens still have to prove that they can beat that type of team with the defense that they have, and particularly with the lack of pass rush that they have. Because that, at the point at which yesterday's game was the most up in the air, the storyline that was unfolding was how unafraid even the Patriots with Mac Jones were to try to pick apart the Ravens. Because what they knew is that the Ravens brought nothing. They were going to have time. And Mac Jones could create even a modicum more time. They were going to be in great shape. So I worry about that. How can I not? I'm going to worry about that against Josh Allen. I get it. The Bills lost a game yesterday. It took some fluky circumstances for that to be the case. But clearly, they're not flawless. Also, I saw that weird stat that the Bills have lost something like 7 straight one-score games. Like when they win, they pound teams. If they play close, they lose. That's a weird bit, considering how good they are. That's a really weird bit. Keep it close. You got a good chance. I'm going to guess that changes at some point. They're just too good for that to continue to be the case. But yeah, I think the Bills deserve to be favored in Baltimore next week based on everything that we've seen, which doesn't mean that the Ravens won't win that game. And it doesn't mean that the Bills are definitively better than the Ravens. How could we know that? We're 3 weeks into the season. But to this point, it looks like the Ravens still have enough flaws that until they prove that they can overcome those against the best teams in the league, there's still, even with the Bills losing a game, there's still a little bit of separation from where the top teams in the AFC are, and then the next tier of teams in the AFC that also are potential threats. And perhaps we have to consider whether the Jaguars are closer to that group than, say, the Denver Broncos are. Good day. Good day. Lots of good things. We'll get to pats on the ass here in a bit. We will discuss who deserves credit. I mean, besides the obvious. Get me yours at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter. You know how it goes. You pick 5 Ravens. 2 must be offensive players. 2 must be defensive players. The 5th can be whatever you might like. Whatever you like. Who did that song? T.I.? Baby,
yeah.
you can have whatever you like. I did like that song, actually. I was a big fan of that. We turn on ice and we can pop. We do whatever you like. That was a good time. Was that 08? Somewhere around there? That sounds about right. Big fan. Big fan.
I wish I could tell you.
I think it was around there. Yeah, you were born around there. I'm not really sure.
Yes.
I'm not really sure. I don't want to think about that, frankly. Look, lot to like. But yes, still reason for some concern. Still enough of a mixed bag about the Ravens. And also reason for concern about time-wise. Like when we talk about the edge rush, we can keep saying, well, Tyus Bowser will be back at some point. Okay, it won't be next week. David Ojabo might be in the mix at some point. Okay, that won't be next week either. Jason Pierre-Paul might be able to help. Maybe, but you're hard-pressed to believe that's going to be this week. I mean, I'm not saying that he won't be on the field. I think there's a chance that he's going to be on the field. It's a weird thing where a guy didn't have an offseason, and I don't know exactly what Jason Pierre-Paul's been doing, but the Ravens just gave him real money, or at least the opportunity for real money. I would like to think that they believe he could be on the field sometime in the near future. So, I'm of the belief that they might just be desperate enough that they have to put him out there on Sunday. I'm just not really of the belief that, one, again, there's all that much left in the tank for Jason Pierre-Paul, and 2, that it's something that he would be ready to make an impact when it comes to,
I'm almost like we have to see him out next week.
Why?
Because we gave him $6 million.
Well, no, they gave him a chance to make $6 million. They didn't guarantee him $6 million.
Well, you better earn that $6 million.
I mean, I understand that, but they knew what they were doing. They were signing a player off the street. They understood he didn't have a training camp. They understood all of those things. I think it's more of a statement about their desperation than it is a statement about Jason Pierre-Paul. But where do those two things meet? Again, I think he could be on the field this week. I think it's possible. But I'm not counting on an impact with Jason Pierre-Paul being on the field this week. I'm just not counting on him making a difference. And so my assumption is the Ravens are going to struggle to get after Josh Allen on Sunday. That's going to be my assumption. They're going to struggle to get after quarterbacks until they have a more complete group on the field. I think at least until Tyus Bowser's out there. That's my assumption. We will see. Perhaps I will end up being wrong, and they'll make me look silly. Obviously, the Michael Pierce thing hurts. There's no getting around that. Michael Pierce looked great in week 1. Still looked pretty good in week 2, but he looked dominant in week 1. Looked like a guy that could be a force that could make an impact in backfields. And now, might be in a situation where he's going to miss, real time. That's awful. Now, does it time out the right way? Travis Jones made his debut yesterday. That maybe Travis Jones is ready. I mean, Travis Jones was an early round pick. I get it. Asking a third round pick to be the answer immediately is a tough thing, but those first 3 round picks are guys that need to be able to make an impact for you and need to be able to make an impact fairly quickly. I'm not relying on it as a mistake. That's not what I'm saying about a third round pick, but it's a guy that you expect to play and a guy that you expect to contribute. So hopefully Travis Jones, if Michael Pierce is going to miss time, is ready to step in. And there was a lot of rumblings on Twitter yesterday that perhaps the Ravens' backup plan to Michael Pierce is still hanging around in Baltimore. And we'll see if maybe Brandon Williams were to get a phone call. I don't know what Brandon Williams' interest is. I don't. It's weird to me that no one else called Brandon Williams. I don't know what to make of that. So, again, we'll need more information about it. John Harbaugh will have a press conference today, and we'll find out a little bit more about Michael Pierce. I get I'm kind of all over the place with this, but I feel like that's where I am with the Ravens sitting at 2-1. I'm kind of all over the place. I think they're good. I mean, there's only so many ways for me to say Lamar Jackson's amazing. It is so silly to be trying to have an MVP debate 3 weeks into the season. Stop. Like, at least get to the quarter pole. At least get to week 5. And I get the quarter pole thing is messed up now because the NFL plays 17 games. At least get to that point before we even start talking about it. Lamar Jackson is playing brilliantly. Not perfect, but that's an impossible standard. I mean, the interception yesterday was obviously a mess. But he's playing brilliantly. I mean, he is playing as unbelievable a football as I can imagine seeing from a quarterback. It's spectacular. It's breathtaking. I love the fact that he's not getting away from running the ball. That, to me, has been the best part of this. That after week 1, when he played well, and I found myself saying, yeah, but is he purposely trying not to run it? Oh, no, we've got a definitive answer 2 weeks later. He's doing it all. He's reminding everyone why he is so much better than everyone else. Why it's okay for a quarterback to run. Why it's a good thing when your quarterback is really good at doing 2 things instead of just 1. It's spectacular. There's only so many ways for me to say it. I'm writing a column today at PressBoxOnline.com, and it's a follow-up to a column I wrote 2 weeks ago after I got the reaction from people around town and some relevant people. Like, I had some people within football that reached out to me about my column regarding the situation between Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. The easiest thing, like we're doing a lot of these, the price of the brick is going up. The price of the brick has gone up memes. We're doing a lot of that. I don't know that the price for Lamar Jackson can drastically go all that up. I mean, the price was already extraordinary. There's only so much within a salary cap structure that the price can go up more. The question becomes, are the Ravens closer to considering the idea of fully guaranteed? And when I wrote my column, which was thorough and detailed, and I was very proud of it because it wasn't just a brainless pay this man column 2 weeks ago, it was really breaking down the complexities of the situation. As I keep saying, a seminal moment in football history disguised as a contract dispute. I was very proud of that column, and I got a lot of great feedback. But there was one thing that I left out in that column. And I'm not actually going to give it away this time. I know I always do. But this time I'm going to have you go to PressBoxOnline.com because there was one thing that admittedly in writing that column, I fell short. I failed with one aspect of that column. And it was important. And I was called out for it, and I was glad that I was. Because it gave me the opportunity to write a follow-up where I made it abundantly clear where I stand. PressBoxOnline.com, my column about the situation between the Ravens and Lamar Jackson, I got a follow-up. And it's important. So I encourage you to go check it out. Coming soon, the all-new Ginsu Kamado Grill, the perfect ceramic tailgate or home grill to sear, grill, bake, and smoke all kinds of food. Get the details. Reserve yours today at ginsugrills.com. Use the code TAILGATE, and you'll get $100 off. And with the Ravens back home this Sunday, stop by Hammer Jacks. That's where Mothers is hosting their tailgate party this season. And you can swing by the Pressbox Ginsu Grills tent for free samples and contests. It's free to get in, but there's also an all-inclusive option for $49 with premium brand open bar and great food. Tickets and details, hammerjacks.com. Man, I love this guy. Don't get to see him nearly enough anymore, but just the best. You see him on WBAL doing the Ravens wrap-up show. You hear him at the Navy broadcasts. He is the great Keith Mills, and he's back with us now here on GCR. Keith, what's going on, man?
Hey, Glenn, how are you, buddy, man? You're way too kind. I appreciate it. I miss you as well, man.
It is always wonderful to hear your voice, my friend. It is great to hear your voice. Hey, before we get into the Ravens, that was big for Navy on Saturday. They needed that.
Big time win for them. They reacted like it was beating Army. East Carolina, certainly not Alabama, but had a very, very good has a very good program. Great quarterback in Holton Ahlers, and super win for Navy. You know, as you know, Glenn, you follow them, and they appreciate that, by the way, down there, man. Scott Strassmeyer and everybody loves the coverage you give them, but you know they've been struggling offensively for a while now. I think a lot of teams in the AAC, American Athletic Conference, have seen this triple option. So Kenny and Miles Tololo and his offensive staff changed it up a little bit. You know, they went more traditional football, power eye, more RPO stuff, power eye, where you have Ty Levitine look at the defense, read it, and then act accordingly. They got the ball outside a little bit with quick pitches and natural sweeps, and they threw the ball. My God, did you see the
huge throw in the fourth quarter? No doubt, massive throw.
So yeah, it was a huge win for them. It was a big relief and certainly a momentum builder moving forward.
Hey, Keith, one of the things that we've been talking about around here is I just get the sense that what we're seeing is where Navy's been at a disadvantage in comparison to other FBS teams, which is not having the ability to have these fifth-year guys around. That you just look, even at a Delaware to start the season, and you see they've got adults, like they've got grown men on the field that you're going up against, which isn't to say that like Navy didn't have a chance to win that game or that they can't overcome it. But I think it's missed in seeing some of their struggles of how difficult it is right now for a place like Navy where they're not able to keep someone around for a fifth year to watch all these other programs. So they have fifth, sometimes sixth-year guys that you're going up against week in and week out.
That's a great point. The transfer portal has changed has certainly changed the landscape and all of college sports, particularly football, and particularly at the highest level. You're seeing so many Power 5 players now. Kids from Alabama, Georgia, Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State, transferring out down to, the group of 5 schools like Memphis or SMU or East Carolina. East Carolina had 34 transfers the other night. Memphis had 37 2 weeks ago. And the kid from Memphis, Joey Skates, who caught the big 80-yard touchdown, played 3 years at Iowa State, which is in the Big 12. So you bring up a great point. It has changed the landscape. I'll give you a great example. Navy doesn't have any red shirts. Now, they do have kids that go up to the Navy prep school up in Rhode Island, which kind of acts as a red shirt year for them. But they don't have any transfers, and they don't have any grad students, and they don't have anywhere near the level of mature players that they're seeing. You brought up a great point. There's kids, Holton Ahlers, the quarterback for ECU, who's one of the best in the country, has started all 5 years of his college career.
Right.
And, he's 23 years old. And Navy's got kids back there, 18, 19 years old playing against them. So it's a major difference.
All right. A big one, obviously, for you guys this week is you'll be headed out to the Air Force Academy as Navy tries to claw back the Commander-in-Chief's trophy. Not going to be easy. Never an easy trip, but will be a good one. That's noon coming up this Saturday. Keith Mills with us here on GCR. Keith, the question that I've been asking today for Ravens fans is the feeling more celebration or relief after their win in Foxborough yesterday. Where are you between those two things?
Yeah, that's a great point. I'm probably somewhere in between, but I think more relief than anything in regards to what happened, last week in the meltdown in the fourth quarter against the Dolphins, and then being able to have the defense step up and close the game out yesterday. Again, I guarantee you Mike McDonald Wednesday during his press session is going to talk about, giving up 150 yards to Devontae Parker and not being able to shut down that passing game, which is certainly not at the level of Buffalo or, Kansas City or some of the elite passing teams in the league. But a very resilient, tough effort from the defense yesterday. You got to feel good for Kyle Hamilton, who took a lot of the blame last week for the fourth quarter collapse against Miami. He had that huge strip of Aguilar that Marcus Peters came up with, and then they got Marlon Humphrey's interception and Peters. But I think it's more relief. The issue again, besides the pass defense, is depth right now on defense. Justin Houston went out yesterday. They're already thin at edge rusher. Brandon Copeland, a young kid from Gilman, had to step in. He's normally a special teams player and maybe an inside guy.
Yep.
He had to move outside, had a big sack and a big hurry on Mac Jones that led to the Marlon Humphrey interception. So to answer your question, I think it's probably more relief than celebration, even though I tell you what, Glenn, you and I have been watching for Bill Belichick's teams a long time, and I can't remember the last time they were 2.5 or 3-point underdogs at home,
no doubt,
with or without Tom Brady, where they ended up losing the football game. But the Ravens outplayed them, no doubt about it. And how about Lamar, man? Woo.
Well, my
Is
God,
he playing
Keith,
lights out or what?
it's just unreal. It's just unreal how good that dude. I was talking about this a minute ago. What's amazing to me about Lamar, everything's amazing to me about Lamar. Lamar's just amazing. But it's even more amazing because after week one, I was a little bit nervous. Like, man, I have never been the type that's had a problem with seeing Lamar run, right? Like, I think it's what makes him so magical is we know how good he is at throwing the football, despite how many idiots don't think he can. I like the fact that he can do all of it. And what we've seen these last 2 weeks, it's virtuoso. It's unlike anything that we've ever seen in the history of the NFL, is someone who has this much of a command of the offense. It's like you're watching an orchestra director, Like, he has everything in control and is like there's just nothing that anyone can do about it.
When Bill Belichick basically throws everything that he knows about defense at you like he did yesterday. Multiple formations on defense, multiple personnel groups, pre-snap changes in the looks are given Lamar. And Lamar didn't even blink, man. He just took whatever they gave him and exploited that defense, which is saying a lot. Greg Roman said last week that for the first time in his career, there are layers now to his game, his input in the game plan, his ability to change the play at the line of scrimmage and check into a formation and a play that exploits what he's seeing. And then his explosiveness. Everybody was worried about how, he picked up some weight. He's not as fast or as quick. He dispelled that myth yesterday as well. He is just playing with so much polish. You can never compare him to a Brady or a Manning or Montana or Johnny U back in the day, but his ability now to command the game, you said a great word, command the offense and look at what he's seeing. And just the simple way they executed the shovel passes yesterday with Josh Oliver and Mark Andrews. Great patience from Lamar. Didn't rush it, waited for his offensive lineman to pull. The one play Kevin Zeitler pulled, didn't even have anybody to hit.
Right.
New England was so confused as to what was going on. Right. So his orchestration of it. And then when they do run plays for him, he's reading it perfectly, understanding where the gaps are, and just making the plays that we're so familiar with here. But his ability to throw the football right now is just devastating to defense.
Now, the couple of minutes with the great Keith Mills here on GCR. Keith, did you see enough between Dobbins, who we assume was on a pitch count yesterday, and then obviously Justice Hill? Did you see enough that makes you comfortable that they're going to have the run game figured out? Because that clearly to me was, as much as we talk about the defensive collapse against Miami, the even bigger story is how you had a lead of 21 points and you were out time of possession by 10 minutes in that game.
Yeah, exactly.
They've got to be able to run the ball with their backs. Did you see enough yesterday to make you feel like, hey, that they're getting that figured out? That's going to be okay in the coming weeks.
Yeah, again, they did a lot of different things schematically up front. They had multiple guys pulling at several plays, Ben Powers and Daniel Alele on Lamar's touchdown run pulled and sealed, and Mark Andrews got the lead block. And that's a great question. I think it's still going to take a little bit of time before we see what we used to see from this offense, where they would just maul people at the point of attack, and Gus Edwards would run them over, or Dobbins or Mark Ingram, whoever was the lead back would get to the outside. I liked Dobbins' burst yesterday. He had that spin move where he looked like the Dobbins of 2 years ago, and Justice Hill just gave them a huge lift. That 34-yard run again was a lot of the offensive line, and maybe the greatest block in Ravens history yesterday was Pat Ricard just pancaking Matthew Judon in the middle of the field. But his burst to get through that and then weave his way downfield was a possible good sign of things to come. But I think Greg Roman will still tell you it's a work in progress. It would be nice to get Gus back at some point, Gus Edwards, maybe by midseason. But you got to deal with the hand that's dealt, and their ability now to create mismatches with formations. Getting Andrews on, getting Ricard on linebackers that he can just pile drive has been a big asset. But I think that's still a work in progress, to be honest with you, Glenn.
Oh, I get that. I tend to agree that it's a work in progress. I don't know that I need them to be the 2019 Ravens, though, right, Keith? Like, they don't need to be. It just needs to be a team that can run the ball. If you build up a lead, or, even I think in stretches yesterday, still, even in a win, we saw in the first half where they had 3 drives in the first half where they went 3 and out, essentially. I know there were penalties in there, so maybe we say they were 4 and out, whatever you want to call it, but they all had something in common. There were no runs with a running back in those drives, and there just needs to be at least the threat of the run or some amount of balance to really make this offense the type that can go beat the best teams in the NFL to me.
Yeah, no question about it. You bring up a great point, balance, and I don't care what coach you're talking about. Bill Walsh to Belichick to Brian Billick to Harbaugh. They always talk about balance, and I love this too. Everybody wants Andrews to get 10 catches, and Bateman to get 8, and Duvernay to get 10, and the running backs to run 40 times, and Lamar to run 15. Well, there's only one football, and you only have a certain amount of plays that you're going to run, anywhere from maybe 65 to 80. I thought they distributed the ball yesterday perfectly. Andrews again led the way. Duvernay and Bateman only caught 2 balls, but they made those catches big plays. The Bateman 35-yarder in the fourth quarter was huge. The Duvernay 3rd and 5 third down conversion when the game was still in balance might have been one of the biggest plays of the game, and they turned that into a touchdown. You bring up a great point. I think one of the issues yesterday is when Pat McCary went out, Daniel Fa'alele came in during that stretch you were talking about.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I thought that would have been a better use of him to run the ball than it would to put him in a situation where he had to pass block, which Deatrick Wise really kind of exploited for 3 sacks in that stretch. But then again, in the second half, Fa'alele really played well.
Yes, he did.
Which bodes well moving forward, too. I was really worried, man. I'm thinking, I said to Pete Gilbert, I said, man, they ought to put Pat Ricard to tackle.
Right.
Because he's a better blocker right now than this kid. But he played well in the second half, and I know Joe D'Alessandro is looking forward to seeing what he can do down the road. But, yeah, I agree with you. Their bread and butter is still ball control and running the football. But they do have some playmakers now on the outside that can make you pay if you do come up and stack the box like New England did a little bit yesterday. And certainly we saw Miami do 2 weeks ago in Duvernay and Bateman. And they just got and Lamar. Lamar is still a weapon when you stack the box. If he gets through that first line of defense, he's gone.
Yep.
He's gone.
Big facts all around. And credit to Greg Roman, right, who made the adjustments.
Yeah.
I for the most part, I get it. There have been moments, but I think for the most part, Greg Roman's been on one this season. And
no question. That play from Josh Oliver yesterday for the touchdown, if you go back and look at that, they had multiple guys pulling. It was a play action, which Lamar froze a couple of guys, and he just stood calmly in the pocket. And the offensive linemen, the Zeitler, Ben Powers, and Linderbaum, not only blocked their guys, but they smashed them into the turf, which led to a clear passing lane for Lamar over the middle where the ball couldn't be deflected. That was just a great scheme and great execution. It's a great point about giving Roman some kudos. Everybody wants to rip him if they don't get 450 yards of offense every week. But I thought he did a tremendous job yesterday.
Keith, you know how this is. You've been around since the Ravens were here. The offensive coordinator is always going to be the least popular man in town. You know how this works, but he's been really good this season. A big week, obviously. I mentioned Navy Air Force, and, of course, Ravens-Bills. It's going to be a lot of fun. Keith Mills, man, we don't do this often enough. It is a treasure for me that we've created this friendship over the years, my man. Thank you for taking the time for us this morning. Let's talk again real soon, all right?
Same too, brother. Same too. Miss you. Looking forward to seeing you, Glenn. Thanks, job, buddy. As always.
Keith Mills from WBAL, and appreciate him taking the time for us. As always, love that guy. Always have, always will. And, there's a lot of good, just a lot of good. Still things that need to be cleaned up. Still every reason for the Ravens to be dogs against the Bills, but reason for optimism as well. Reason to believe that this team can trend back towards being one of the better teams in the AFC. All right, today's show is also brought to you by the Maryland 5-Star, which is a huge event. Come see Olympic athletes in action as the nation's best horses and riders compete in one of the world's premier equestrian events at the Mars. Maryland 5-Star at Fair Hill, presented by Brown Advisory, October 13th through 16th in Cecil County. When we come back in, I think we need to go over picks for the week. I think we need to do that. You think we should, Griffin, you think we should go over picks?
I guess we might as well.
I think we should go over picks for the week because we had a little side bet, didn't we?
We did.
Well, I can't wait to find out what happened. I don't feel like I did all that well this week. I feel like I was kind of meh this week, so I'm a little nervous.
I know I did meh.
Going into picks recap. Well, let's find out on the other side, all right? It's Glenn Clark Radio. The Baltimore County Police Department is hiring. Entry-level officers start at close to $59,000 a year with a $10,000 bonus. Some restrictions apply. Plus a great retirement plan, medical, dental, and vision insurance, advancement to specialized units, tuition reimbursement, 15 sick days earned per calendar year, and even further incentives for military members and veterans. If you have a passion for service and want a career for life, visit joinbaltimorecountypd.com or call 410-887-5542. You must be a United States citizen, possess a valid driver's license, and have a high school diploma or GED equivalent. The Baltimore County Police Department is an equal opportunity employer.
Come experience Maryland's #1 sportsbook this NFL season at the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel, the ultimate place for any sports enthusiast. Take advantage of our 24/7 kiosks, massive video screens, and watch all the action from the best seat in the house. With more money paid out than anyone around, make every moment more at the new FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel in Hanover, Maryland. Please play responsibly. Gambling problem? Please call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit mdgamblinghelp.org.
That first sip, that first bite. Start your day off right with a delicious breakfast at Royal Farms. Choose from a fantastic selection of fresh Royal Farms breakfast sandwiches and top it off with a rich hot cup of the freshest coffee in the world. At Royal Farms, breakfast is available day and night. It's the freshest breakfast in the world. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
Glory Days Grill's Oktoberfest menu is now running. It's one of their most popular seasonal menus all year. It features the chicken schnitzel, the Oktoberfest brewer's platter, the brewer's sausage sandwich, the Bavarian burger with a pretzel bun, the cheddar ale soup, the slam dunk pretzels, and the apple cobbler. All of these meals pair well with Oktoberfest beers and Angry Orchard on draft. Dine in or order online at glorydaysgrill.com and pick up your favorites to take home. Glory Days Grill, great food, good sports.
The Maryland Lottery presents Ravens' Greatest Plays. It was called the Mile High Miracle, a 70-yard touchdown pass against Denver with 30 seconds left to send the game into overtime. The Ravens eventually won, propelling them to the championship. Another great Ravens play belongs to Diane from Annapolis. Diane played Raven Scratch-Offs and won season tickets for 20 years. You could be next. Play Raven Scratch-Offs with instant prizes up to $100,000. And please play responsibly.
Have you been to Guilford Hall Brewery? Located in Baltimore's Station North neighborhood, Guilford Hall Brewery breaks the craft brew mold with their great handcrafted microbrews and amazing Bavarian-style food selections. Join Guilford Hall 7 days a week for Orioles, Ravens, and all of your favorite college games. Make plans now to watch the big games, play trivia, or bring your dog for Yappy Hour. They even have free valet service on Friday and Saturday nights. Go to guilfordhall.com for a complete schedule of events, beer listings, promotions, and food and drink specials. We'll see you at Guilford Hall Brewery.
Tune in to Simply the Bets every Tuesday and Weekend at Bookies every other Thursday at 11:40 a.m. And if you really have nothing better to do, keep listening to this show too.
Back in here on GCR on a Monday edition of the program. It's time for us to recap our picks for the week. Picks Recap is brought to you by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. The Toyota Tacoma comes in a range of models and trim lines. You can choose the perfect Tacoma to reflect your unique personality and driving habits. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Tacomas from your local Toyota dealer today. So this is a reminder that Griffin and I had a side bet for this week. Our friend Nick Kelly sent me this email last week. He said, this was after the Ravens lost, said, no, that's crappy morning football. Why? Oh, blah, blah, blah. All right, we don't need to talk about the Dolphins game. That's neither here nor there. What I wanted to email you about was my wife stumbled upon this recipe this weekend and asked me if I could ever eat this, and we both agreed no chance. It's called Hoop Fish Bake, and somehow includes pollock fillets and SpaghettiOs. Maybe this is your next food bet. Well, Griffin, of course, we learned something about him after he lost the first one. Griffin might have a problem. Griffin, when he lost the first bet this year, which required him to eat the Richard Petty sandwich, believe it or not, he was a bit petty. And he immediately wanted to go double or nothing, which, of course, has no sting. He's already eaten the sandwich. We don't do the same thing. We got to come up with something else. But I told him then it needed to be organic. It couldn't be forced. Now, Griffin had nothing to do with Nick that I know of. I don't think Griffin and Nick Kelly colluded to come up with this. Nick Kelly found this. Nick Kelly is a friend, a gentleman, and a scholar. I love me some Nick Kelly. And Nick Kelly sent this to me. And so I said, well, this sounds terrible. This is perfect. And I said, Griffin, we can make this that you want to run it back. You want to get your heat back. It's like, how we're doing the big thing where you're going to give a stink face, but you got to let the other person, or you're going to do the worm, but the other person's got to get their heat back. So you got to let them give you a stink face. I said, Griffin, here's your shot. We can do another side bet on picks this week. And Griffin said, I'm in. I said, great. And if we're being honest, it wasn't a great week for anyone, picks-wise. No one did better this week than 5-4. It was a really tough week. We'll go through the games. I am very mad at myself. Vegas tried telling us. Vegas tried their best to explain that we should be betting Maryland. And if that wasn't enough, Leon Twyman, the general manager of the FanDuel Sportsbook, tried to explain why it was that we should be betting Maryland.
I guess it's good. I mean, we were all on the same page.
Yes,
so.
Nobody lost any ground here, but it was a free bucket that was waiting to be had. And I boofed it. Nobody had Maryland covering. They covered 34-27. Maryland played well. It is definitely progress considering, I wrote a column about this before the season with Maryland football. It's not really to me about them beating the top teams of the Big Ten. They need to show progress by not getting throttled by those teams. So check that box. They got a great chance to beat Michigan State this week. I think we all know Michigan State's no longer one of the best teams in the Big Ten. That could go a long way. But that I will accept that as progress. The bummer is a lot of questionable calls. Both of Michigan's interceptions looked like they weren't actually interceptions on replay. Don't know what that's all about. Like, Maryland legitimately had a chance in that game. We need to talk to Ken Zales about where on the doll Maryland football touched him. Like, we need to figure out what's going on there.
Where on the doll?
Like, something happened, and I'm not sure what it was, but we need to deal with that at some point. Anyway, the story is that Maryland covered, and none of us had it. Thriller between Clemson and Wake Forest.
Yeah.
Thriller.
I was feeling real good at this point.
Yeah, I think you should have. At this point, you were looking decent as Wake Forest indeed not only covers, Wake Forest probably should have won. A double overtime thriller, 51-45. Clemson wins by 6. They were favored by 7.5, so that is a cover for Wake Forest. Griffin and Kyle Ottenheimer get on the board. The problem was neither Griffin nor Kyle Ottenheimer.
Tennessee was doing. I thought they were going to cover. I was like,
they had a 2-score lead late. Florida, statement drive at the end of the game. Good teams win. Great teams cover. Florida goes down, puts together a touchdown drive at the end of the game to get back within 38-33. They cover the 10.5. Griffin, Kyle Ottenheimer, and KZ all shut out on that point. KZ had needed a big close this week because he was off to a rough start. The NFL games. Andrew Stetka back in the act.
Yeah.
Follows up a 0-9 week with a decent week. He was tied for first this week. He stole a point by being a lone wolf on Cleveland. That worked out really well. Cleveland covers the 4.5. They won 29-17. Myself and Paul Valley were the only ones on Miami, as Miami not only covered, they got a win. They got a 21-19 win over Buffalo. Weird day. A lot of questions about the Tua thing and whether or not he should have been allowed back in the game, but he was, and they were victorious. It was weird. Tyler Bass missed a short field goal, and then Buffalo couldn't get a playoff, couldn't get a spike at the end of the game. Just a lot of weird. They had to go for the touchdown because they were down by 4 at the time. Of course, in hindsight, if they had just kicked the field goal, they wouldn't have, never mind. Because Miami wouldn't have gotten the ball there, and the butt safety wouldn't have happened. The butt punt. Oh, magical. Purely magical. Ultimately, Miami does not only cover, they win 21-19. Myself and Paul Valley get that point. I couldn't have called the Cincinnati thing more on the nose. Not only did I make that pick, but also if you follow the Live Casino and Hotel Maryland on social media, I explained this to you to a T. That as bad as the Bengals' offensive line had been, the Jets were not capable of taking advantage of it. Bengals won comfortably, 27-12. For some reason, not only John Proctor, but our own Griffin Bass.
For some reason, Joe Flacco thought he had it in him again.
I bet you won't regret that. I bet you won't regret that at all. I bet you won't regret that. Well, I missed one. Thought Tampa had it in them. Thought their defense was a little bit better than Green Bay's. Those teams just don't look good. Although Romeo Doubs started to be a thing yesterday, and considering I think I've been holding him in all of my leagues, I hope that's a sign of things to come. Green Bay holds on for a 14-12 win after Tampa can't get. It's not just the Ravens that are getting plays in late in the play clock. The Buccaneers couldn't get the play off on the 2-point conversion. Were forced back to the 7, and they fail what would have been a game-tying 2-point conversion. So Green Bay holds on for a 14-12 win. One of the worst football games in the history of the sport last night between San Francisco and Denver. Ultimately, Denver wins. Definitely use that in quotes. 11-10. Another insane safety as Jimmy Garoppolo pulls the Dan Orlovsky along the back line of the end zone. Just brutal. What a brutal, awful football game that was. Broncos are somehow 2-1. And they
do not look it.
They're a terrible football team. They're terrible.
They have, 2 touchdowns, I think? Is that what? I think that's the stat. I saw somebody put out. Because they scored, I guess, 1 on Monday night in week 1. Yeah. And then they scored the late one last week.
Well, then they would have 3.
Okay, so maybe I saw it going into the fourth.
They scored
quarter
one last night. They did ultimately get a touchdown last night. I guess that makes 16-9. Yeah, they got 3 touchdowns. Yes, they have 3 touchdowns on the season. Lamar Jackson calls that a nice quarter.
Yeah,
calls that a nice quarter. They added Jerry Rosberg to the booth, thinking that would change. I mean, what a dumpster fire. And yet they're 2-1. I mean, go figure. That's the NFL. Jimmy Garoppolo was a mess. Anyway, Griffin and I were both on San Francisco, so we both lost that point. Yeah. Everybody was on Baltimore, which was a good thing. So for the week, leaders, Kyle Ottenheimer, Andrew Stetka, Paul Valley, all 5-4 for the week. Moves Kyle within a game. He ties me within a game of the top of the table, where Ken Zales still holds on despite being 4-5 this week. KZ 19-15 for the year, 1 game in front of myself, Kyle Ottenheimer. John Proctor, a tough week, 3-6, so he drops from second to a tie for 4th at 17-17. He and Paul Valley. Paul Valley also had a good week this week, going 5-4. Then there's Griffin and I. I went 4-5, which, considering what was at stake, I am really not feeling good about. going 4-5 this week. Griffin, let me go back and double check. So you got Wake Forest. That was a big one for you.
Oh, yeah.
You
go
got
Wake.
You got Baltimore, like everybody else did. And, hey, you got Green Bay. I missed that one. And then you also
that was Tennessee should have.
Well, but you didn't. Did you get any other?
And then Joe Flacco should have.
No. Did you get any other points, or did you just?
And then Steelers almost.
Did you got the 3? That's what you. You came away with. I got the 3. So I went 4-5, and you went 3-6.
That's correct. Yeah.
Bon appetit, baby. Let's go.
All right.
Griffin's gonna switch over to this seat, and he's gonna give you a look at the hoop fish bake. You remember when we were sitting in here eating all that delicious Glory Days a couple weeks ago? Remember when we were devouring the Brewer's sausage platter and the Brewer's sausage sandwich and the Bavarian burger with the pretzel bun and the chicken schnitzel and the slam dunk pretzels and the cheddar ale soup? You remember when we were doing that, Griffin?
You remember that? Yeah, I remember.
You remember that day? And you can order everything from the Glory Days Oktoberfest menu right now at glorydaysgrill.com. You remember all the joy we had that day?
Yeah, that was.
It's a similar joy right now, right? Very similar feeling that you're having as you stare.
No, not exactly. I do feel like this isn't gonna be terrible.
Okay, we needed to address that. Last night, young Griffin sends me this text. He's asking me about my plans for the week and whether I can record an interview at a certain time, and that a phone number I sent him might have been wrong. And all of a sudden, at 9:11 p.m., not gonna lie, this hoop fish bake doesn't look awful.
I don't think it does.
To which I responded back very simply, "You're sick." And I stand by that. If you actually feel that way, I think you might be a pervert. I think you might be... we might need to put you on a no-fly list if you genuinely feel that way.
It's all edible food.
Yes, but it's not food that should be served together.
We don't know that until
fish
right
and
now.
SpaghettiOs?
It was in a cookbook.
All right, what else? What else is in there?
There's broccoli and some tomatoes, and then so there's like a breadcrumb topping.
All right, so you made what percentage of because the recipe calls for a big casserole, right?
Yeah. So I pretty much just halved it. I just used one can of SpaghettiOs. I used
so the recipe calls for 2 13-ounce pollock fillets.
Yeah, so I used just one.
10 cherry tomatoes, 3 green onions, 2 red chilies.
I forgot the onions.
Well, that's it. You're going to have to do it again tomorrow. 7 florets of broccoli, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika, and 2 cans of SpaghettiOs. And then breadcrumbs, 4 small slices of bread. Did you make the breadcrumbs yourself?
I just kind of cut the bread up and then I mixed it with the olive oil, and so actually they taste like fruit. Those taste pretty good.
Lean it in a way that I can get the actual fish and spaghetti. I don't want to just see the bread is the problem. The problem is you've got all the bread at the top, and so when we posted the picture on Twitter, I don't think it gave us the. I see a lot of fish and SpaghettiOs. That's what I need here. Take a picture of that. Take a picture. Yeah, there we go. I need the fish and SpaghettiOs because that's the truly disturbing part about this. So
and again, it doesn't.
No, into the microphone. You're not.
It doesn't smell like terrible. Like
I don't want it. I don't. Just get after it. Just get to it. Get to it. We decided this was a lasagna. The agreement was a lasagna style piece. Was what you would be consuming. You would consume something the size of a square of lasagna.
Is that okay with you?
A little. Fill the bowl, and then we're good. Fill the bowl, and then I'll call that. I'll be all right with it.
All right, now I'm
not. Yeah. No, I bet it doesn't look as good. I bet it doesn't look as good because now you're not just seeing the breadcrumbs. You were just looking at the breadcrumbs like, it's just some breadcrumbs. I'm fine. All right. We're good. We're good.
Okay.
It's truly gross. Truly disgusting. This is one of the most disturbing things. Yeah, you got to get the fish and the SpaghettiOs in there. You got it. Yeah, a little bit of that.
There we go.
All right. You want to like a Here's to Swimming with Bow-Legged Women type of thing? Oh, that's a money shot right there. Right. That's a money shot. Yeah, man. Dig in. Enjoy. Oh, he likes it. Oh, son of a bitch. He likes it. He's in on the hoop fish bake. Damn it. Oh, this sucks.
Okay, so it's definitely not good.
Okay, all right. I feel better now.
Yeah, definitely not something I'd ever seek out again.
Right. Nor should it exist. It should be burnt.
Yeah, but it's not garbage.
Explain to me what it is that you're feeling. Describe the sensation of the hoop fish bake.
So first you taste like the spaghetti, so it's definitely a lot of sauce, and then there was a crunch in there. I think that was the broccoli though. And then I taste the fish, which just tastes like fish.
Yeah, I mean,
bland
right,
fish.
correct. Bland, plain ass pollock fillets. Like there's just nothing doing there, nothing going for you. This isn't like when I had the rockfish bites out at Skipjack's Crab Deck last week.
No, it is not.
Yeah, those were. Oh my God, I have dreams about those. That was. Yeah, go ahead, dive in one more. Yeah, go ahead, one more. This is not as painful, obviously, as the pepper because the pepper was overwhelming. The pepper led to you belching for the rest of the day, and probably uncomfortable pooping later. This.
I mean, I guess the real loss is just that last night I had to make it knowing I was gonna have to eat it. On
right.
The show.
This is kind of a no-sell, though, if I'm being honest with you. Yeah. This is kind of a no-sell. This is more just like, I don't like it, but I'll get through it, and I'll move on with my day.
I'll pay my debts.
That's a real bummer.
I know.
That's a real bummer. All right.
Should I play it off like, oh, my God?
It would have been better for the show if you
right.
But I don't want it to be fake. I don't want it to be fake.
Well, maybe the third bite will
I don't know. We'll find out. All right. Thank you, Griffin. Griffin will continue to consume. He doesn't get out of this. He's got to finish that bowl of fish hoop bake, which I have no idea why it exists, why anyone has ever thought that would be something they should prepare.
I mean, SpaghettiOs are good.
Jesus, you're 12. You're 12 years old. Maybe. You're 12 years old. There's nothing good about SpaghettiOs. God, get out of here. All right, hour number 1 of today's program is in the books. Coming up a little bit later on today, Stan the Fan Charles and Ross Grimsley are going to catch up with the great Bill Swaggerty, former Baltimore Oriole. That will be happening a little bit later on at facebook.com/PressBoxSports. 6 o'clock kickoff for that show. If you miss it live, you can catch it tomorrow, youtube.com/PressBoxOnline. Wait a second. Yes, youtube.com/PressBoxOnline. My brain stopped functioning. Or PressBoxOnline.com/video. Stan the Fan, Ross Grimsley, Bill Swaggerty catching up, talking some Orioles today. When we come back in, our buddy Jeremy Conn, he's going to go a little bit earlier this week because we're scheduled to catch up with Brandon Stevens later on in the program. Also, we will still, I promise, get to your pats on the ass and our pats on the ass as well. That's on the way. It is a Monday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. Have you been to Guilford Hall Brewery? Located in Baltimore's Station North neighborhood, Guilford Hall Brewery breaks the craft brew mold with their great handcrafted microbrews and amazing Bavarian-style food selections. Join Guilford Hall 7 days a week for Orioles, Ravens, and all of your favorite college games. Make plans now to watch the big games, play trivia, or bring your dog for Yappy Hour. They even have free valet service on Friday and Saturday nights. Go to guilfordhall.com for a complete schedule of events, beer listings, and food and drink specials. We'll see you at Guilford Hall Brewery.
That first sip. That first bite. Start your day off right with a delicious breakfast at Royal Farms. Choose from a fantastic selection of fresh Royal Farms breakfast sandwiches and top it off with a rich hot cup of the freshest coffee in the world. At Royal Farms, breakfast is available day and night. It's the freshest breakfast in the world. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
What's up, everyone? This is Tyus Bowser, and I'm excited to tell you that I'm back for Season 2 of the Tyus Bowser Show in partnership with PressBox and Great Ace Memorabilia. Join us on Tuesday nights throughout the season as I'll be heading all over town with my special guests. And of course, our co-hosts, Glenn and Rita. Or is it Rita and Glenn? What is it? I look forward to meeting you guys and talking a little bit about football and a lot about life. And if you happen to miss the show, you can now catch a replay Friday nights on 105.7 The Fan. Get all of your details for the Tyus Bowser Show right now at PressBoxOnline.com/Bowser.
The next Tyus Bowser Show is Tuesday, October 4th at 7 p.m. at Guilford Hall Brewery, 1611 Guilford Avenue in Station North. It's brought to you by Maryland Vascular Specialists and the all-new Ginsu Kamado Grill.
Come experience Maryland's #1 sportsbook this NFL season at the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel, the ultimate place for any sports enthusiast. Take advantage of our 24/7 kiosks, massive video screens, and watch all the action from the best seat in the house. With more money paid out than anyone around, make every moment more at the new FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel in Hanover, Maryland. Please play responsibly. Gambling problem? Please call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit mdgamblinghelp.org.
The 2022 baseball season is in full swing, and the future is brighter than ever for your Baltimore Orioles. I'm Paul Valley.
And I'm Zach Goodman.
And together we bring you the Bat Around every Saturday from 10 a.m. to noon with everything you need to know about the Orioles and baseball as a whole. From veterans like Cedric Mullins, Austin Hayes, and Ryan Mountcastle,
to young stars like Adley Rutschman, Grayson Rodriguez, and DL Hall.
We've got you covered for every game, every pitch,
and every debut.
You can watch us at youtube.com/PressBoxOnline and Facebook.com/PressBoxSports, or you can listen at PressBoxOnline.com/radio. So join us live on the Bat Around every Saturday from 10 a.m. to noon right here at PressBox Sports.
Glory Days Grill's Oktoberfest menu is now running. It's one of their most popular seasonal menus all year. It features the chicken schnitzel, the Oktoberfest brewer's platter, the brewer's sausage sandwich, the Bavarian burger with a pretzel bun, the cheddar ale soup, the slam dunk pretzels, and the apple cobbler. All of these meals pair well with Oktoberfest beers and Angry Orchard on draft. Dine in or order online at glorydaysgrill.com and pick up your favorites to take home. Glory Days Grill, great food, good sports.
Check out Jeremy Conn's daily picks at PressBoxOnline.com as he tries to find you daily winners. And speaking of winners, here's a man who once won a media curling contest, and I don't think anything else. He's Glenn Clark.
Jeremy's going to join us in just 1 second. If you've not picked up the new print issue of PressBox yet, you need to do that right now. It's available for free at your neighborhood Royal Farms, any of the hundreds of locations around town where you find PressBox. Or you can read it all at PressBoxOnline.com. Great cover story from Bo Smolka about Mark Andrews. He had 2 touchdowns yesterday. Good timing. Go get this right now, and it'll be available for another couple of weeks. And then start thinking about our next print issue of PressBox, which will have Kevin Willard, Maryland basketball coach, on the cover. That will be the next one as we preview college basketball season. Joining us now, Big Bag Morning Show, 105.7 The Fan, picks every day at PressBoxOnline.com. He is our buddy Jeremy Conn, and he's back with us here on GCR. You really didn't want to come over here and enjoy some fish and SpaghettiOs with Griffin this morning?
Ugh, that looked awful.
Yeah.
And I could smell it through the picture.
Here's the problem, is that he took the first bite, and I looked over and I realized he doesn't hate it. Like, he's not going to make it again. This isn't going to move into, like, his rotation, but he's not in hell right now. Like, it's just kind of a struggle meal on a Monday afternoon, really. Yeah.
It sounds awful.
Oh, it's horrendous. I don't, like, and by the way, our buddy Nick Kelly found it in some cookbook. Like, someone suggested that other human beings should make this abomination, should ever combine. Let me make something abundantly clear. If you're a child and eating SpaghettiOs, that's fine. If it's anything other than that, just throw SpaghettiOs out. We're adults.
So what all is in it exactly? Is it?
Go ahead.
It's SpaghettiOs, fish, and then there's like a breadcrumb topping that's actually pretty good. And then
What kind of fish? Is it like tuna fish, or is it
just like what was it, pollock? Haddock. I think I used haddock.
Oh, well, way to go. Yeah, what did call for pollock? We should have made it
like
tuna.
a fried fish?
Yeah, tuna would have been. No, I mean it's just.
But yeah,
baked,
you bake it?
Baked fish.
You bake
yeah.
it. Yes, correct.
I'm eating it cold, too, so it probably even tastes better when it's warm.
I don't know if I agree with that, actually. I actually think that you should go warm it up.
So you want to throw it in the
I
microwave?
kind of want you to go warm it up and see if it's... I'm not even kidding about that. I think you might actually be getting away with one by eating it cold.
Cold SpaghettiOs aren't good.
You want to microwave fish?
Oh, yeah. Unfortunately, we have other people that use that microwave. Never mind. Take it back. You can't do that. Sorry. Damn it. I think you're getting away with one today.
And there's some broccoli in it, too, which...
It's
good.
All right. Hey, the question that I've been asking starting on the postgame show yesterday and into today, Jeremy, should Ravens fans be more celebratory or relieved about yesterday?
I think relieved. I mean, you have the Bills coming in. You do not want to have to go into that game down, or being 1-2 instead of 2-1. And let's be honest, like, everything that happened in that game, like, I feel like I called the game outside of getting the game right, that the Patriots are going to have plenty of opportunities to win this thing. Where I felt like a lot of people were writing them off, but they kept making mistakes, and the Ravens capitalized on it. But the thing that I come away from, I said, if this had happened last week, we'd probably be talking the same way about it. Like, oh, the defense didn't look good, but they're 2-0.
Right.
And it's just funny that this happens the next week where the defense really wasn't all that good. They just got turnovers, and that changed the game.
There's a funny part of me, Jeremy. And look, can you count on that moving forward? I don't. This is the NFL in 2022. It's hard to have a really good defense. In some odd way, I feel like it's almost as beneficial to be an opportunistic defense, to be a playmaking defense, as it is to try to be a statistically good defense, just because like you're going to face really good teams, and really good offenses are always going to be able to beat really good defenses because of the way the rules are set up. I'm not ready to tell you that I think the Ravens are an opportunistic defense just because they, made those plays against Mac Jones yesterday. But if they can become that, that really is good enough for me to try to pursue a championship.
Yeah, I think it is too. I mean, look, there's not a lot to love about the pass rush. I've heard a lot of people talking about the linebackers today, to include them in that Patrick Queen has not looked good. But again, it's just a matter of what you're going to run into. Can you continuously – it's just something that we really haven't seen a Ravens team do, is just outscore opponents. And I'm not talking about just wins and losses. Like, yeah, you win 17-14, you outscored them. But being in shootouts and winning those consistently, that might be something that they have to do this year. And look, Kansas City's done it for a while, where their defense has just been okay, but
Right.
The offense has been so good that it hasn't really mattered.
Right. And if you can make the plays when you have to make plays to win close games. Dude, that stat about the Bills in one-score games, like I am not down on the Bills. There were a lot of fluky things that happened yesterday. Like, I still believe the Bills are the best team in the AFC. But that stat that was like they've lost 7 straight one-score games or something like that, like, is really alarming to me in some weird way, because I ultimately think that this is, and I get it, it normally needs to come from your rush, and that's the one thing that's still missing, as you point out, for the Baltimore Ravens. But to just figure out how to be a team that can make one freaking play at the end of the game when you need to, like, that to me, like, if you have a great offense, all we need you to do is, if the game is tight, make one play. Like, that's it. That's all you got to do. And apparently in close games, the Bills are no good at that.
Yeah, it's been strange too. Like, this weekend, outside of like I like the Vikings to knock off the Lions. They didn't cover.
Yeah.
I talked about the Colts and the Dolphins as my 2 big upsets. So I feel good about it, looking at those spots and finding the right place. But I feel like this isn't me like patting myself on the back. I feel like that's something we're going to do each and every week, where we're looking at these teams and we start to go, wow, are they that much better than them? Because if you look at next week, like, the Ravens are hosting the Bills next week, and the Bills come in as 3-point favorites, which I found kind of interesting, because I thought they might be a slight favorite, or maybe the Ravens would be a really small favorite, under 3. But it kind of surprised me seeing that just a little bit, knowing that the Bills are still going to be missing a bunch of pieces in their secondary.
I hear you. I just, I think the Ravens still have to prove that they can get it done against a real offense. You know what I mean? Like, that the defense was shaky against Mac Jones. So, like, I kind of get where they're coming from. By the way,
Mac Jones.
Don't act like you don't know the name.
Yeah.
Oh God, the favorite day of my life was when Mike Jones called into the show. I was so happy because John Harbaugh.
Yeah, that was a cool moment,
dude. It was the greatest thing that John Harbaugh could have ever done for me. John Harbaugh shouting out Mike Jones in a press conference gave me an excuse to try to track down Mike Jones. Like, it was the greatest moment I could have ever asked for in my life. The Bills have lost 7 straight one-score games, and they have not won a one-score game since 2020. So weird. So weird, right? So weird, dude.
Well, that's the league right now. I mean, the league is so, like, is Jacksonville good? Are the Raiders bad? What are the Titans? What are the Broncos? They're 2-1, but they've looked just dreadful in their games. It's just, I just feel like that this league, like, even the NFC side, like, you talked about the Bills being the best team in the AFC, and I would agree with that. But when you look at the NFC side, we had 3 teams that we all had circled at the beginning of the year saying, these are the 3 teams to watch out for, with Tampa, Green Bay, and the LA Rams. And I don't know that anybody's looking at those teams. Everybody thought they were going to run away with their divisions, is what I should say.
Right.
But I think everybody's looking at the Eagles now going, they look pretty good on both sides of the ball.
They do. I mean, they did the thing where they said, "Hey, before we pay our quarterback, let's go all in." And right now, it's paying off for them. And their schedule is not overwhelming. Like, you keep looking at that schedule, like, man, I don't know. They could maybe win 15 games this year. Like, they have a real chance.
And that's the other thing. We've seen the Dolphins, who have played the Patriots, the Bills, and the Ravens, and they're 3-0. And you look at their games, going, this might be a team that maybe we got to show a little bit more respect for. In I think their next 7 games, they should be favored in every one of them.
Although, I am still nervous about what they did to their quarterback yesterday. I have some questions about that scenario.
That's something we all should be talking about. Is like, it was that. I mean, he missed 3 plays, but they throw him right back in the game like it's just going to be okay. But I don't know. I'm just kind of curious how the whole thing plays out if they are going to do that investigation to it, because he looked like he was kind of a little out there. He missed, like I said, missed 3 plays, but then they realized, hey, they might come back. All of a sudden, he's back out on the field.
He is Jeremy Conn, 105.7 The Fan. Of course, picks every day at PressBoxOnline.com. Let's get to the important stuff, Jeremy. Did you see this tweet yesterday from Vapor Weave that said the following? You ever think about how Mila Kunis, Natalie Portman, and Ashton Kutcher have all made out on screen in any combination?
Oh, wow. I have not, but that is Black Swan. That is a...
Yes.
That's amazing.
Neither had I ever thought about that, and now I can't stop thinking about it.
Yeah, I think was it Ashton Kutcher that just admitted and said, yeah, we did the same movie that Mila did.
Well, and they did. By the way, okay, how do you feel? I'm so glad you're bringing this up. I'm assuming you've seen both films.
Yeah.
I truly love the stupid Mila Kunis, Justin Timberlake one. And yet,
I do too.
I never enjoyed the Ashton Kutcher, Natalie Portman one. I thought there was nothing there.
It was just okay. But this has happened for years now, where I guess different companies have put out essentially the same movie, going back to, what was it, Deep Impact and Armageddon,
right?
End of the World movies.
Wasn't there like an Anaconda and another snake movie at the same time?
Was it a snake movie? Was it or was it like Lake Placid? I don't know. Did Anaconda come out with another snake? I'm trying to remember if that was. But there's a ton of these. Whether it's some sort of like romantic comedy, like we talked about with No Strings Attached, and whatever the other.
By the way,
is.
can you with your life on the line? Like, are you certain that if somebody put a gun to your head before this conversation and said, you have to tell me which of those movies was which, that you would definitely know which one had which title?
Yeah, I would.
Okay, all right. I would not have. I constantly get
No
it
Strings
wrong.
Attached was Ashton Kutcher and Portman.
I know. I believe you're right, but I'm telling you, I constantly get that wrong. Or at least struggle with it for a second. And end up realizing that my life might be over in that situation. That might be the case.
The other one I think that where there were duplicate movies made, sometimes it's the horror genre with like the Poltergeist type movies, or the Spirit of this, or the Exorcism of, what was it, Emily Rose? There were similar movies that came out in the same year, but it feels like that's done quite a bit in the film industry.
Or, for example, there were 2 documentaries made at the exact same time about the Fire Festival, and I said to myself, I'd watch 5 more. Like, I can't make 3 more Fire Fest documentaries. I will watch all of them. I don't care what you do.
Yeah, the only thing I realized from the Fire Festival is I'm not that thirsty. I don't need to get water in that manner. So.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you certain? Yeah.
Maybe I am a little thirsty.
Sometimes you need to take one for the team, my friend. That's just the way that it goes.
The fact that guy was willing to jump on that grenade, I mean, like...
I know, what a team player, dude. He truly believes in the cause. Imagine...
Well, he was playing for the other team.
I understand. But remember, he kept saying it was just about how much he believed in Billy McFarland, which says so much about our country. Like, he believed in a shyster that much that he was willing to perform a sex act in order to keep the guy's dream alive of faking it until he made it. Like, what does that tell us? Doesn't it explain a great deal about maybe, say, the last president of the United States?
Yeah. Well, it is kind of funny. And I'm just thinking back, I believe the guy that you were talking about, Billy, didn't he just get out of prison?
Oh, did he get out?
I think he just got out.
Oh,
yeah.
Holy crap. Oh, you never know what might be next now. You never know what might be next for that, man.
Fire Festival, too.
Oh, my God. Well, how does he not? Like, how does he not? It was like,
do you like your Kraft singles on top of the lettuce and tomatoes, or do you want it on the side?
Maybe if there was a little fish and SpaghettiOs involved, I'd be more willing to enjoy the Kraft singles, the cheese sandwiches.
I think I'd rather eat the mayonnaise sandwiches.
I bring up rom-coms, and I'll have your all-time favorite rom-com is.
Oh, my all-time favorite rom-com. It might be like an I Love You Man.
Okay, that's a good one.
Because I like all the guys that are in those type of.
This is the buddy,
genres,
but those are the buddy cop pick. I always say that my all-time favorite.
I'll give you one that's not in that range if you want.
Okay.
And you can make fun of me all you want. It's Notting Hill.
Okay.
Whoopsie Daisy.
Okay.
Like that movie. I love the soundtrack. I love the movie. Like everyone's introduction to Rhys Ifans, who's now on like the House of Dragons. He was in The Replacements as the kicker. He's the stupid nude Welsh.
Oh yeah, in Knight's Tale. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
love that guy.
No, he's not in The Knight's Tale.
No, that's not the same guy.
No, that you're thinking of the guy that isn't that the guy that dated? No, what's his name? That's Vision, the guy that plays Vision.
Oh, that's Paul Bettany that was in Knight's Tale. Really?
Yes, Paul Bettany.
I am getting old, bro. I am getting really old. I didn't realize. Maybe I did know that was Paul Bettany. Maybe I did.
When he goes,
that.
"You daft prick."
Yeah.
So
all right. Maybe I did know that. I F that.
Yeah. So Notting Hill would be it for me.
Okay. I'm a Love Actually man myself. I enjoy that a great deal.
That's a great one too.
It's a really good.
You can pick anything with Hugh Grant.
I always say my answer when somebody asks about rom-coms specifically. I always say my answer is Knocked Up, and people think that you're cheating because it was an Apatow film. But like it was a rom-com. Like let's be honest about it. It was a movie for chicks that like dudes could also enjoy because it was an Apatow film. Like
Honey, I Got Matsui. Yeah.
Oh my God! And he's wearing all the Orioles gear, and I'm like, why does Paul Rudd love the Orioles? I don't get it.
And by the way, This Is 40 is a sequel to that.
That's
which
right.
Is kind of weird.
I did not. Yeah. It was too much. That came off a little. This Is 40 to me came off a bit incestuous. Like Judd Apatow just wants you to care about Judd Apatow at that point. Like it was maybe an hour.
Maybe, but I really liked it because I saw some similarities to my life.
I get that. I get that. Yeah. I thought it was about an hour too long. Like I didn't think it was a bad movie. I didn't think it was bad. Mm-hmm. I just thought like you literally could have lopped an hour off of it and still would have been a fine movie. I bring all this up because, of course, Jeremy, I think we need to try to organize going out for a screening this week because Bros hits theaters this week.
Oh, does it?
And I think we need to see if maybe like there are some Baltimore sports radio listeners that would want to go see Bros with their bros. Like I think this is the moment. Like dudes have been waiting for this moment for a long time. It's finally a romantic comedy for dudes, like.
Well, I'm going to Jamaica on Wednesday.
Oh, you're killing me!
Back.
All right, I might be willing to do that. Maybe I'd be willing to wait. I just feel like this is our moment that everybody's been waiting for.
I should say I'm supposed to go to Jamaica on Wednesday, but there's a hurricane that might ruin all of my plans.
Oh God, I did. There's another one because one just came through, and there's like another one on the way, right?
Yeah, and I think is it Ian or Ian? It doesn't matter either way. Both of them piss me off.
Well, I believe it's Ian because he's coming to call the Ravens game on Sunday against the Bills. Yeah, right. So okay, this is fascinating to me. How do you make this decision? Like, are you just we're committed to going? If we get there and there's a problem, we deal with it when we get there? Or is there a part of you that's like, dude, I want to go to Jamaica, but if we're walking right into a hurricane, I ain't getting on that plane.
Well, I think the hurricane's going to pass through. I think our big problem is that we have a layover in Florida, and by the time we get to Florida, the hurricane should be hitting there. So if it touches down, or even if, just bad weather. I mean, look, I'm in as long as the pilot's good, as long as he's okay with it. If he feels like going up there, we go down. It just happens.
Like, you're not better than he is at his job. You're not going to say, dude, I don't think you should be flying. He's going to say, I might know a little bit better than you do about this subject.
I'm going to go up there and be like, how many minis do you guys need to get through this flight?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
I had the worst turbulence I've ever had coming back from the Ravens Super Bowl. Now, I came back that Saturday night, but I didn't get to go to the game. But in flying back, we had the worst turbulence from New Orleans to Carolina where it felt like the plane was going to fall out of the sky about 50 times.
Dude,
I've never seen anything like it.
Dude, I flew one of the times that when I was living in Arizona, one of the flights I had back from Baltimore back to Phoenix, I remember there was a woman sitting next to me who I was chatting with because she was pleasant and she was attractive, and we were just having a nice conversation, and the turbulence got so bad that she started praying. And I was like, and I'm not even a religious person. I'm like, can I pray with you? It was that terrifying to me.
See, I want to be different in the moment. I want to be the one guy smiling so everybody has, what's wrong with him? Or just start chanting in tongues and seeing how everybody reacts to it.
Right, so. Hail Satan. Do you have a big sports radio for some reason exists to debate the stupid effing Pro Bowl? So I don't give a rat's ass about it one way or the other. Oddly, in a weird way, I'm actually a bit surprised they're canceling it because people still watch the dumb thing. You were basically playing a flag football game anyway. It's not like anybody was getting hurt. I don't really understand why they felt the need to get rid of the thing. But do you have a take whatsoever about the stupid Pro Bowl?
No, it sucks. I mean, the Pro Bowl, I don't mean the decision, the Pro Bowl sucks. So I have no problem with it. And as much as we all say nobody's watching, I mean, they're still getting more viewers than a lot of programming on TV that people think are, that's good. So people do tune in. It's nowhere near like the regular NFL games or, the playoffs, anything like that. But it sucks. I mean, let's be honest. Like when guys are out there and it's a very vanilla defense, you got kids calling plays. Like it's not even fun. It's just kind of goofy. So I'm glad they're switching it up. I wish they would have went back to more of
by the way, Griffin, did you just finish? I think Griffin just finished his Griffin, I'm really nervous that he actually enjoyed this. He didn't waste
Let's not get it twisted. I did not enjoy this.
You ate an entire bowl of that in 30 minutes, though.
I mean, how long did it take me to do the sandwich? I'm just trying to get it done. That's my mentality.
Oh, how you feeling?
Much better than after the pepper sandwich.
All right. Sorry, Jeremy. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
I would have thrown up probably 2 bites into that.
I swear to God, I'm starting to worry about Griffin. I'm starting to think that maybe he might need to be on a no-fly list.
There's far worse things to be eating than that.
He might be a savage for all we know.
Yeah, that's possible, dude. But are you going to be any more willing to watch this? They've done the dodgeball, and they've done. To me, the quarterback skills thing when I was a kid was neat, watching them throw the ball at the moving targets. But it wasn't something that I was tuning in for, if they ran it live. It was the type of thing that, if I was up at 10 o'clock on a Friday night outside of football season, there was nothing to watch, then maybe I'll watch that. I'm not tuning into it.
There's also nothing else going on in February, so you might be dying for it unless you're a college basketball
but that's the thing. I like college basketball. I'm just not pressed.
I do too, but on a random night to have something, even if you don't want to watch it, we'll still watch the highlights of it. I agree with you. Seeing the quarterback challenges that they used to have, I thought that stuff was cool. Hell, they thought it was cool enough they made a video game out of it.
Right.
The obstacle courses and different things, watching the guys catching passes one-handed. There's all types of things they could do to make it interesting. But again, nobody really cares about it, but the NFL is not just going to get rid of it because they need something to monetize. They love, I don't know how much I can stress this. They love money.
Yeah.
And anything that can bring in money, they'll keep beating it with, beating that dead horse with a bat as much as they can.
I guess. And again, I'm not I'm not bothered by any of it. I really am just surprised. There's no reason why they couldn't have done all of these things. Play the dumb game and do all of the skills competition and make as much. I am genuinely surprised that they would get rid of a game unless, of course, the players at some point just came back and said, "Dude, we're done. We're not doing it any longer. Stop. It's
Why not
over."
just have a decathlon of dumb things? We could have guys playing chess. Maybe they could use the whole anal beats thing with the way the chess thing was going.
Wow.
You heard about that, right?
No, I'm not familiar.
Oh, well, you got to look up the chess master. He lost what is it, the greatest chess player in the world? Is it Magnus something?
Okay.
Where his opponent was using electronic anal beads, where they were sending pulses to tell him where to move.
What?
So eventually he was playing against AI.
What?
Look it up. I didn't make this up.
I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah.
What? Oh,
so we could have something like that, maybe a trivia contest.
Yeah. I am still trying to.
The chess world was rocked.
Yeah, I would imagine. I just want to know. I want to know what it was like in the moment. somebody approaches somebody and says, dude, I've got an idea. You're going to be able to beat the greatest chess player in the world. They were like, all right, I'm listening. All right. All you got to do.
It would have been great. Glenn, it would have been great had he lifted up the piece. You can't take your fingers off of it. If it just kept vibrating in his ass until he got over the right spot, then it would stop. And then if he moved off it would start vibrating again. That would, like, his opponent must have gone, what's this guy doing? Is he scanning the entire board? But it's a really weird story.
You know what the weird part is he kept asking to play another match afterwards. They were like, dude, you already won. And he's like, yeah, but we can run it back if you want. Like, why not play one more?
Be careful getting those things out. You might start them up like a lawnmower. So
I can't believe I hadn't heard about this story.
The thing that I can't get past is how long, and I know the answer to this, but I won't reveal it. How long do you have to practice this to get it down?
Right.
Like, how loose is his goose right now is what I want to know.
God.
Yeah. Did they have to upgrade? Did they start off with marbles and work their way up to golf balls?
And by the way, apparently there's enough money involved with chess that someone definitely had to be like responsible for lubing this man up beforehand. Yeah. Like another person was paid American dollars to be responsible for having the lubed finger. Like,
well, I mean, what if just like, you get a self-cleaning oven, he's a self-lubing man. That's a possibility too.
God,
yeah.
Damn.
You don't need to add anything.
Oh, this is unbelievable. My mind is fully blown. All right. What's coming up on the Big Bad Morning Show this week? It's not going to be better than this, I promise.
Well, I got one more show this week.
Oh, right. Then you're going to Jamaica.
Yeah,
you just said
on Wednesday,
you just said that. I screwed up. Yeah, I'm sorry.
No. It's fine. Like it's going to be a big week leading into the Buffalo Bills. I'm just hoping in Jamaica that the Bills Ravens should be a nationally televised game. That winds up in the market that I'll be in, so I can see it while I'm down there.
Is this an anniversary or what is this?
So yeah, it's kind of so my wife and I got married on one of my best friend's birthdays. Unknowingly, when we picked the date, we didn't realize it, but it was 10/2/10 was our anniversary. So my buddy and I always text like happy birthday-versary, like a little celebration.
That's
so
great.
He's turning 40. So they were planning on doing something like 3 or 4 days in Jamaica for him. So I looked at my wife and I said, well, why don't we go down for a week? We'll have a couple of days for ourselves and then get to spend 4 days with, 7 of my friends and their wives or girlfriends.
I love that.
Yeah.
Or both if that's what they're into.
Or boyfriends. I don't care what they're into.
All right, pal. At Jeremy Conn 1057, picks every day at PressBoxOnline.com. Happy anniversary, pal. By the way, you haven't taken me to Jamaica for our anniversary, so I'm a little bit offended by it, but we'll talk about that at another day.
I'm going to take you to a much classier place.
Thank you, my friend. And we can play
Glory Days. That's where you and I are going to go.
And we can play some chess.
Yeah.
Love you, buddy. Thank you. We'll talk to you next month. When are you back? Maybe we won't talk to you next month.
I'm back next Wednesday.
All right. We'll talk to you the following week. Thank you, pal.
All right, man.
See you, buddy. Jeremy Conn, 1057 The Fan. Love that guy. Hey, the next Tyus Bowser show is not tomorrow night. It will be the following Tuesday, October 4th. We will be back at Guilford Hall Brewery in Station North, 1611 Guilford Avenue. Heard some rumors about maybe who Tyus might be bringing out. Pretty big guest that could be joining us next Tuesday night. You're going to want to join us as well. Find out more by going to PressBoxOnline.com/Bowser. The Tyus Bowser Show is a partnership of PressBox and Great 8's Memorabilia. It's brought to you by Maryland Vascular Specialists and the all-new Ginsu Grill. We come back in. We're scheduled to be joined by Brandon Stevens of the Baltimore Ravens. And we know Brandon Copeland is also going to join us. We're having a Brandon Day. We hope. But Brandon Copeland, our buddy, what a cool moment for him yesterday. He's definitely going to join us before the show is over, so we're looking forward to that as well. It's Glenn Clark Radio. See Olympic athletes in action as the nation's best horses and riders compete in one of the world's premier equestrian events at the Mars Maryland 5-Star at Fair Hill, presented by Brown Academy, October 13th through 16th in Cecil County. Don't miss the breathtaking excitement of the dynamic cross-country competition or the elegance of dressage and precision of show jumping. There's also great shopping and activities, including a fresh food fest, corgi race, and a beer, wine, and spirits showcase. So come enjoy a beautiful fall day at the Mars Maryland 5-Star at Fair Hill, presented by Brown Advisory, October 13th through 16th. Learn more and buy tickets at maryland5star.us.
Whether your focus is luxury and comfort, convenience and technologically advanced connectivity, or sporty performance and aggressive styling, we've got the perfect Highlander for you. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Highlanders from your local Toyota dealer today.
The Baltimore County Police Department is hiring. Entry-level officers start at close to $59,000 a year with a $10,000 bonus. Some restrictions apply. Plus a great retirement plan, medical, dental, and vision insurance, advancement to specialized units, tuition reimbursement, 15 sick days earned per calendar year, and even further incentives for military members and veterans. If you have a passion for service and want a career for life, visit joinbaltimorecountypd.com or call 410-887-5542. You must be a United States citizen, possess a valid driver's license, and have a high school diploma or GED equivalent. The Baltimore County Police Department is an equal opportunity employer.
Sports betting has come to Maryland, and we're ready to help you win some money. Tune in for Simply the Bets every Tuesday morning at 11:40. FanDuel Sportsbook GM Leon Twyman and VSiN's Aaron Oster join the guys every week to give you all of the info you need and offer you a few winners. And every other Thursday at 11:40, tune in for Weekend at Bookies as Andrew Stecca and Alloy Sports' Brad Kronthal help make you some money for the weekend. So come win some money with us on Simply the Bets every Tuesday and Weekend at Bookies every other Thursday. Brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. Listen at PressBoxOnline.com/radio. Watch at YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline.
The Maryland Lottery presents Ravens' Greatest Plays. 2021, the game on the line. With 3 seconds left, the Ravens connect on an impossibly long 66-yard field goal to beat Detroit, the longest field goal in history. Another great Ravens play belongs to Touchdown Joe from Silver Spring. Joe scratched a Raven scratch-off and won a top prize of $100,000. You could be next. Play Raven scratch-offs to win instant cash or enter to win great second-chance prizes. Please play responsibly.
Experience the best in Kamado Grilling, a complete outdoor cooking appliance. The Ginsu Kamado Grill allows anyone to sear, grill, bake, and smoke all types of food. Designed for efficiency and function, the Ginsu Kamado Grill upholds the enduring legacy of the iconic Ginsu brand. The Ginsu Kamado Grill is perfect to cook all year round, is great for parties, and ideal for tailgating with your friends. Reserve your Ginsu Kamado Grill today at ginsugrills.com and get $100 off on your pre-order when you use the promo code TAILGATE. That's ginsugrills.com. Reserve yours today.
Join Glenn at halftime of every Ravens game for the Project Game Day halftime show at facebook.com/PressBoxSports. We apologize in advance. There's not much we can do about his face.
Continue along on a Monday edition of GCR, a day after the Ravens went up to New England, got their first ever regular season win in Foxborough. No, our buddy Brandon Copeland's going to join us here in just a couple of minutes. We still need to dish out our pats on the ass. Continue to get me yours at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter. You know the rules. You pick 5 Ravens. You rank them 5-1. 2 must be offensive players. 2 must be defensive players. The 5th can be whatever you'd like. Another you can have whoever you'd like. Another offensive player, another defensive player, special teams player, or a coach. Any of those work for the 5th spot on Pats on the Ass. Ooh, hello. I wasn't even the one that ate all the SpaghettiOs and fish, and yet I had a little moment there. We will get to that here in just a second. If it doesn't work, that's all right. We can try, tomorrow, or we can try later today, whatever it is. If we can't make it up with Brandon Stevens, these things happen. Understand. I like Brandon. He's a good guy. So I believe that he's trying to make it work. But they're probably headed back into the building today and getting a lot of things done. So I tell you what, we'll go ahead. We'll do Pats on the Ass. If Brandon Stevens calls, we'll work around it. We'll figure out a way to make it all possible. That's the way that it will go. Pats on the Ass, brought to you by Guilford Hall Brewery. As I said, that's where we're going to be for the next Tyus Bowser show 1 week from tomorrow night, Tuesday, October 4th. We'll be back in Station North, 1611 Guilford Avenue. Hope you guys enjoyed the Oktoberfest party this Saturday. It is an amazing location. It is truly a gem in our city. Indoor and outdoor areas, multiple levels. You can have private events there. They've got the screen up now for football Sundays. They're open 7 days a week. The delicious craft beer the outstanding Bavarian menu. Everything about Guilford Hall Brewery is spectacular. I am so excited that we are going back there. GuilfordHall.com is the website. Guilford Hall Brewery. They also do trivias and yappy hours. You can get the entire schedule of events, again, at GuilfordHall.com. All right, pats on the ass. I will begin. We go 5-1 with number 1 being your man of the match. Probably not going to be a lot of drama when it comes to man of the match this week. I'll start with my number 5. My number 5 was tough. It's funny because one of the first responders today was like, I don't really know how there are that many arguments. I disagree. I think there are a ton of arguments. I think there are something like 10 to 12 players that I could have considered. I think Daniel Fa'alele warranted consideration. I think Justice Hill warranted consideration. I think Justin Madubuike warranted consideration. Marcus Peters wasn't on my list. I think warranted consideration. The toughest one for me to leave off, the guy that was most difficult for me to leave off was Kyle Hamilton because it was such a big play. But it was one play. And on the flip side, I thought Josh Bynes, who was my number 5, was active throughout the day. I thought the interception was critical at that point of the game. It was a very nice play. This wasn't a lollipop that was thrown up like the Peters interception at the end of the game. That was a lollipop, right? Like he just sort of waited. He could have fair caught that thing. Josh Bynes' interception was a really, he had to make a legitimate athletic play in order to come up with it. I think he finished with 10 tackles, if I remember correctly.
I think you were right.
I
think he was the leading tackler.
Yeah, he was all over the place. I think he was, the best player on the field. No, but I thought he was damn well deserving of it. So Josh Bynes is my number 5.
Yeah, I'm with you. I thought there were plenty of guys. Josh Bynes, I was thinking about putting him as my number 5. Devin Duvernay, I thought just the way
he was my number. He was my number 4. We'll get to that. Yeah.
Okay. But I decided to go with Daniel Fa'alele.
Okay.
Because I didn't think he looked good at all in the first half.
He did not.
And I
gave up 2 sacks.
Yeah, I said to my friend, I said Fa'alele is a revolving door right now. And then he came out in the second half, and for his first time ever playing the position, he looked very, very.
To be fair, I don't know if he did it at IMG Academy or something like that. Yeah. He didn't play. He hasn't played it in college,
right?
Or
right.
Obviously the NFL until yesterday.
But yeah, so I think he stepped up huge in a spot that the Ravens really have not had an answer for in over almost 2 years.
To be fair, I think McCary played as well as you could have imagined him playing. I think he was fine. And they helped out Fa'alele a lot. Like they did some things in order to make that more tenable. They have a real problem. We have to see what the McCary situation is, and we keep wondering aloud about Ronnie Stanley. Like, is he a thing? I don't know. Don't have that answer. But yeah, I thought he played as admirably as you could have imagined in the second half. Oh, hello.
Thought I had a burp in there.
Oh boy. What did that taste like?
It's a lot of. It's mostly the sauce, like the SpaghettiOs sauce.
Yeah, because the SpaghettiOs. We're not gonna. You're a child.
Just cold SpaghettiOs is what it is.
Number 4 for me is Devin Duvernay. Probably should have had a touchdown on the punt return. That's the only thing. Like, I hate criticizing it because it was a hell of a play, but when he got slowed down, I don't know. I think that messed with him a little bit, and he missed that. If he cuts back in, he's got a touchdown at that point. But obviously a huge return, big offensive play for the Ravens at that point. You add in the third down conversion, and then you throw in what was a great touchdown grab. Obviously, we were all mesmerized by the throw. But the catch is equally spectacular from Devin Duvernay, and it's his second truly spectacular touchdown catch this season. Devin Duvernay becoming a thing. We're going to have Joe Serpico on tomorrow, and we're going to have to talk about whether or not, like the last time we asked, he was like, no, I don't know, man. Maybe we got to start thinking about owning Devin Duvernay because the opportunity is there and the Ravens are scoring a bunch of points. Devin Duvernay is my number 4.
My number 4, I'm going with, probably could be interchangeable with my number 3, but I'm going with Marlon Humphrey here.
Yep.
Big interception. He was missed last week when he was playing on a limited basis in that fourth quarter, if at all. But yeah, I think it's very important that he was back out there for every single snap alongside Marcus Peters, who I guess I'll just give it away. Marcus Peters was my number 3.
So yeah, Marcus Peters didn't make my list. The thing about, because Humphrey's my number 3, there's 2 things that stand out with me with Humphrey. One, he's clearly not 100%. That's obvious, and they're asking him to play inside, which is funny because on the Tyus Bowser show, he was like, I don't think I'm going to be playing that much more inside. Oh? Maybe he was being purposely deceptive, right? Like he might he might have known this is what he was going to be doing, and he just wanted to make sure the Patriots didn't know that. But it appears as though his usage was kind of related to the injury. But to not only have him out there, if you could take something away from the interception and say he just basically caught a ball that was thrown to the back of the end zone like it was his ball to catch. But, he still made the play, obviously. And, for example, Patrick Queen had a ball that was his to catch that he didn't. Yeah. No, it wasn't as easy of a catch to make. I mean, that ball came in with more pace than the one that Humphrey caught. But the fourth down stop is the one that stands out to me the biggest.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that to me jumps off the page as, dude, there's a guy that's not 100%. That really is an outside corner. And yet, here he is knowing it's a bit of a do-or-die moment, and he's ready to make a sure tackle, like not a shoulder shove, not a slow you down, a wrap-up tackle to make sure that you get off the field. And I don't know how many top cornerbacks in the NFL are making that tackle. So I thought that was massive.
He's huge. I think he's top 5 corner in the game, like no doubt.
He wasn't a year ago, but when he plays his best,
when he's 100%, and he plays like he did yesterday. He wasn't even 100%. But yeah, Marcus Peters, my number 3. He always is in the right spot at the right time. The big fumble recovery, make sure he stayed in bounds to establish the fumble recovery, and then the interception at the end. I mean, missed him too, and good to have him back.
Number 2 and number 1, I think, were pretty easy. Look, Mark Andrews is Mark Andrews. He's a monster. There's nothing. What else do you say? Love the design on the third and 1 from the 6. Loved it. Loved everything about it. That play always, I don't know why, it always works. Why does that call always work? It's like never failed. Loved that. And, he just reminds you he's Mark Andrews, and he's very good at this. He is a superstar in this league. That we can talk about the Ravens lacking high end at certain positions. They've got high end and arguably highest end. I think we had just sort of accepted Travis Kelce as being the best tight end in football, and he might very well be, but there's not that much separation, if there is any at all, between he and Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews, wonderful, just wonderful.
He's unbelievable. I mean, whether it's the run after the catch, whether it's one-handed catches, 50-50 balls that he turns into 80-20 balls in favor of him. I mean, he does everything. I don't know what we would be doing without him.
I don't know. And number 1, of course, that was simple. It was Jordan Stout. He was, the 1 was a little shaky. But look, Lamar Jackson's number 1, and there's no debate about it. There's no argument about whether Lamar Jackson's number 1. He was genius yesterday. I mean, it was virtuoso. It was like when my man Jamma chimed in earlier. Like, command is just like, you keep coming back to command. Like, that dude is in complete control. Total, complete, 100% control. It's magical, dude. It's just purely magical. Some of your responses. Got some good lists today. Brian Reynolds, Hamilton 5 because he hustled and caused the fumble after a terrible week. 4, Marlon for the pick. 3, Greg Roman. And I think Greg Roman deserves credit. I agree. Number 2, Mark Andrews. Number 1, Lamar Jackson because he is Lamar. Paul from Ovilando, number 5, Marlon, the key 4th down tackle, interception in the 4th quarter. 4, Greg Roman, called a good game overall, went into the vault for a few plays. Number 3, Marcus Peters, back to being in the right place at the right time for 2 turnovers. Number 2, Mark Andrews, after a drop to start the game, he was Mr. Reliable again. And number 1, Lamar, who is on a mission. Our buddy Paul Valley checks in. Number 5, Marlon Humphrey, big interception. He tackled really well, especially down the stretch. 4, Greg Roman, red zone play calling superb. Getting a lot of Greg Roman from folks.
Very surprising.
I agree with them. I'm just, we're not used to it. Red zone play calling was superb. He drew up schemes to protect his rookie tackle. Number 3, Mark Andrews, yeoman's work. He seemingly makes the list every week they win. Number 2, Marcus Peters, the juice man is back. And number 1, Lamar, duh. Yeah, I mean, I think we all agree with that. Nick, number 5, Hill definitely found the holes after last week. All right, okay, Justice Hill. Number 4, Kyle Hamilton, probably had the best, most important defensive play of the game. Number 3, Marcus Peters. Number 2, Mark Andrews. Number 1, pay the man, Lamar Jackson. From Vincent, 1 Lamar, 2 Andrews, 3 Peters, 4 Marlon, 5 Fa'alele, like you. My buddy who goes by T'Challa, and I always forget. Dude, I'm sorry. I always forget your real name is. But he tried to cheat. He went 1 Lamar, 2 Andrews, 3 Madubuike. I thought Madubuike had a good game. It just didn't make the impactful plays that stood out for me. 4 Marlon Humphrey, and then he tried to make Fa'alele and Duvernay a tie at number 5. That is cheating. You made a 6-man list. You're not allowed to cheat. Our buddy Dylan, when he sent it, I was very confused because he sent a list that said 1 Lamar, 2 Marcus Williams. I don't know about that. 3 Marlon Humphrey, 4 Marcus Peters, and then 5 DeMarcus Robinson. And I was like, what? What? But he followed up very quickly to say, I'm sorry, I meant Duvernay. I blame it being a Monday. Like a few people might have done some Sunday drinking around town. I understand. Oz, 1 Lamar, 2 Mark Andrews, 3 Marcus Peters, 4 Marlon Humphrey, 5 Rashad Bateman. Was a little bit quieter yesterday, but did have a big play late in the game down the sideline for a huge gainer. He did have that. And was that actually a fumble or not? We could be here. We would be debating that for an eternity. I don't think it's egregious that they didn't overturn it. I think John Harbaugh is going to scream about it, but I think he's wrong. I don't think it's egregious that they didn't overturn that. I'm fine with that. It was 50-50. From PP, Purple Pants, 1 Lamar, 2 Andrews, 3 Marlon, 4 Peters, 5 Hamilton is his list. Continue to get me yours at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter. Again, at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter is how you get me your lists for Pats on the Ass. And we will continue to share them throughout the day at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter. And we will get our own up, glennclarkradio.com, at some point during the course of the day as well. Should we take our last break? You want to stay right here? We'll stay right here. All right, we'll do that. Today's show is also brought to you by the Maryland 5-Star. Come see Olympic athletes in action as the best horses and riders compete in one of the world's premier equestrian events at the Mars Maryland 5-Star at Fair Hill, presented by Brown Advisory, October 13th through 16th in Cecil County. Whew. I told you earlier my allergies are getting to me, and you're getting to that point where your throat, and you've been talking for 2 hours, and you're like, I could really use a water or Allegra, something like that. Don't love this time of year. I do love that we get to have this conversation. I have had so many conversations with this man. I think we've talked 100 times, but this is by far the most special conversation I'm ever going to have with this guy. I'm not going to say it brought a tear to my eye yesterday because that might be over the top, but I think you guys know how I feel about Brandon Copeland as a human, as a person, as what he's done for our city, how much he cares about this place. If you remember the last time he was with us, he was talking about how he would be willing to drive himself back to Baltimore and just try out to continue his career with the Ravens. And not only does he get the opportunity to continue his career with the Ravens, he gets a huge sack, another massive pressure, and helps them get a big win on the road against the Patriots. It is truly a thrill to welcome our friend Brandon Copeland back to this program this morning. Dude, I can only imagine. It was emotional for me yesterday. I can only imagine how emotional it was for you. Thank you for taking the time for us as always, and congratulations, my friends.
Glenn, thank you so much, man. Yeah, yesterday was an amazing day. Obviously, life changes fast, right? You go from quote unquote sitting on the couch or being on the street and, in football terminology, right, to playing in New England and playing with the team you always dreamed of being with and trying to make plays that can help make your city proud. And so, it was an amazing day and excited to be on talking football with you and specifically talking Ravens football.
Dude, all these years, this is, do you allow yourself a moment, man? I get you got a job to do and you need to help your team win a football game and you're being asked maybe even to play a little out of position as you're doing that. And so you got to be focused, but do you allow yourself a moment to soak any of that in? You've done so many things in football, but this is so unique. Do you give yourself a moment at some point yesterday to just stop and be like, holy crap, this is really happening?
Yeah, I think, I'm attacking this season a bit differently than I have in the past. I'm slowing down and I'm just kind of being grateful for the small moments. I think my entire career has been, obviously undrafted free agent, and everything is week to week. Even now, I mean, they could be trying to replace me right now. Frankly, I'm sure they are trying to replace me and upgrade me right now. And I don't take it personally. So I just more. It's always been a focus on, all right, how do I stick around, but it's on to the next. And so for me now, this year, it's like, again, I'm living, life after death, so to speak. I'm just playing with house money, and I'm soaking in the national anthem. I'm soaking in the pregame. I'm soaking in the police escorts, to the stadium, away from the stadium, the plane rides. I'm soaking in all the little details, and just enjoying it all. And hopefully it leads to the best season of my career.
I mean, I pretty decent start, bro. Like, not a bad way to start. Brandon Copeland is with us on GCR. This is the other part that's weird to me, because you've done so many things in the NFL and you've accomplished so many things. But I think most people around here would like to hope, like when they're growing up, that it would somehow mean more to do it playing for their hometown team. And what you just said is important, because you don't know, in 3 weeks you might be playing for the Jaguars or something. Like, but did it have that feel of, like, in some weird way it was more meaningful even to you, knowing this was the team that you grew up watching, and knowing that this is the city that, like, your grandfather played in? Like, did you have any of those feelings playing for the Ravens on Sunday?
Yeah, I definitely did. I think that, for me, this is the dream come true, right? I was an 8-year-old kid, a 10-year-old kid, a 12-year-old kid, a high school kid, and these were the games I was watching, right? I was watching a younger version of me was watching me today. Or there's a kid out there right now that was watching me yesterday that's saying, hey, I want to wear a jersey and get a sack against the Patriots one day, right? And to me, that's a pretty cool thing. Everything that I've done in the city with our foundation, with Beyond the Basics, right? Like, everything I've done has been to try to make a younger version of me's life easier or simpler, or give them the blueprint so that they can not go through the mistakes that I've gone through or other people have gone through, right? And so, yes, 100%, thinking about that younger version of myself watching that game yesterday, and thinking about me at 12 years old watching Suggs and Mike McCrary and Goose and Ray Lewis and Ed Reed and Chris McAllister and all of those, names that we grew up on, Dion, it's the coolest feeling in the world. And I'm fortunate. My wife is amazing. Taylor's amazing. My family's amazing. They made the trip out there to the game. And so, for me, it's everything is full circle. Like, I tell people, I dreamed of, my dreams have layers, and not to get too deep, but like I grew up dreaming of giving back to my community, but also grew up dreaming of my kids coming to watch me play. And as of yesterday, I checked that off the list, right? Doesn't mean I'm done. Still got some things to do, but as of yesterday, again, I feel full, so to speak. And me, I'm an ambitious dude. So, we got, again, my dreams have layers. We got some more things we got to accomplish. But again, I could take a moment to say, wow, it is pretty powerful. What, a 12-year-old kid dreamed up. It just happened yesterday.
He is Brandon Copeland, and he is really trying to make me cry. Like, my God, dude. I don't like being this guy because, at some level I'm supposed to still, like, be a journalist or whatever the F you call it. But, like, you know the affinity that I have for you, man. You know how
I appreciate it.
How much it means to me that you have cared so much about this place. And listen, you describe this, and now me being a father too, like hearing you say those words, bro, like that is moving, man. That is really freaking moving. Okay, so let's talk about the position thing. Like, when you came in, when you worked out, and when you were signed to the practice, like, was there something said like, hey, dude, just be aware, like, we have a real problem on the outside right now. Like, we are thin. Like, we might need you to help out in that way, or was that just sort of thrown upon you in the moment because they were that thin?
That's a great question. Yeah, no, I mean, I think, for me, obviously, I've played so many different positions at this point that people don't even know what position I play. I don't even know what position I play week to week, to be honest with you. Sometimes I literally go up on Monday or Tuesday and I ask Coach, hey, what should I be focusing on this week? And then literally the day before the game, I get thrown into something different, So for me, obviously, we've been outside and for me, being cross-trained, so to speak, has been what's one of the things that I think has kept me around for so many years, right? It's hard to get rid of that guy that can do a lot well. And so, I told coaches yesterday, and even on the sideline during certain times of the game and stuff like that, they come, hey, can you do this? Hey, can you do the coach? It's football. Like, I got you. Like, whatever you need, I got you. Like, it's not. I know. Oh, have you? I know you just got here, and do you know that coach? See ball, get ball. Like it is what it is, right? And I think that that's my grandfather. I will say that shout out to my granddad, Roy Hilton. I know he was looking down, smiling yesterday, but one of the things he taught me when I was younger is just he always looked at football as a two people being thrown into a trash can. And I think I probably told this on the show before, but he would always rip up his paper and newspaper and boxes and stuff like that to get the most room in the trash bag as possible, right? Old school. And so, he looked at me one day and was like, Coach, why I was good at football? And I was like, why, Granddad? And I'm like 12 years old, literally about 12. And he said, I always looked at football as just this trash can. Like, you put two people in this trash can and you say only one of you can come out. I don't care if that other person is all world, all American, all pro. I don't care if it's Zeus. If it's me and you in that trash can, I got to come out. And so it's that simple. And so literally as a kid, I just have always taken on that mindset when we get onto the field. It's like, yeah, you got your X's and O's, you got to understand the scheme. And I'm, smart enough to keep up and come in and learn a playbook in a few days and be able to be effective on Sunday. But ultimately when that ball is snapped, right, it's the game that, I fell in love with as a fourth grader, where I just got to run around and hit people. And so, sometimes scheme will detract from that. And that's one of the things that I think that, I appreciate the coaches for believing in me with, that it wasn't just me talking about it yesterday. It was just like, listen, coach, like I got the system. I understand it too. I understand as much of the playbook that I need to understand.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, put me on the left side, right side. I don't care. Put me in the middle. It doesn't matter. See ball, get ball. Like, he's got the ball. He's got to get down. Let's go get him, And so it's not always going to look perfect. It's not always going to be the cleanest. I'm not looking like Aaron Donald out there, but I've come to accept that I'm Brandon Copeland.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to be the best version of myself.
And you made a serious impact on the football game, bro. Like, I mean, that's the thing that stands out. It wasn't just, like, some people can get, like, a gift sack at some point, right? Like, you made a couple of massive plays and helping to force the interception. Like, it was pretty clear. And I know that that's not surprising. You're like, dude, yeah, there's a reason I've been in the league for 10 years. Like, I can make football plays. Like, I know what I'm doing. But yeah. I think to be thrown into the mix in a new place and to be making an obvious impact, the idea of them trying to do better, I'm not sure that they're gonna be able to do better. I think they've got better. I know I'm not. I know I appreciate you. I know I'm biased, but yeah, it's what it is.
I mean, I if you don't mind, I will like to add something because I think that it's important for those who may not know me or just getting to know me. Right? It's you know me and we've had some amazing conversations on this show, and when the game of football and the NFL especially, right, it's such a what have you done for me lately sport. It's what have you done for me lately, right? And especially me sitting out and being told when you're sitting out, you're basically told that. For some people who say, oh, you just got to wait your time. For me, I hear that as you're not good enough to be on my team, right? We have other people that are better than you. That is what drives me to keep working out, to keep, proving all those people wrong. And sometimes in that pursuit of, I got to prove you wrong, it's easy for you to forget all of the amazing things that you've done over your career and over your life, right? It's easy for you to look at yourself in the mirror. And I mean, I'm talking about football, but I'm more of saying this to anybody out there who might be going through a similar situation, just in a different universe, right? It's easy for you to look in the mirror and point out all your weaknesses that other people may see or may devalue you with. And so I think that over this time, you know, I was talking with some other players who had sat out. I was talking with Josh Bynes, right, our Mike linebacker, who sat out for his time and came back with a vengeance a few years ago, right? And just figuring out how they dealt with it. But ultimately, you know, I guess the moral of the story is you got to believe in yourself, right? And for me, it's a relentless belief in myself, but also throughout this time, I've been able to work on my mind to really appreciate who I am, because especially in this business, a lot of people will try to compare you and tell you, hey, why don't you do it like this guy? Or why don't you do it like this guy? Or I used to coach this guy and he did it like this. And now I'm very comfortable. And honestly, it's like, man, 10 years later, right? But now I'm very comfortable saying, like, that's really good for what you and that guy did. I'm me, so I'm going to do it the way I'm going to do it. And if you like it, great. If not, oh well. But we'll never know how good Brandon Copeland can be if you always keep trying to make me be this other guy. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that that's the moral of the story, you know, is, you know, we all have value and we all do some amazing things. And because of social media, because of, you know, just the world and the criticism we all get, the critique we all get, which is important for us to reach our full potential. It's important to hear that and understand it and listen and use it as fuel. But I think it's also important for us to make sure that we also keep a strong sense of self as we are chasing that next, you know, check on the bucket list, so to speak.
Dude, that is really powerful and speaks to some of my own insecurities, and I can't lie about that. And I think we all have some of that, right? That like, you know, we forget, like we have something to offer in moments. Like we feel like we're neutered by a boss. I've gone through some of this professionally, right? Where something happens and you start doubting and man, boy, I'm so glad you said that, man. All right, I'm gonna wrap with this, and we're gonna get more plugs in. The idea of you walking out of the tunnel have you even played a game since that first preseason? Have you been back at all, like in Baltimore? Have you played a game there?
Yes, Thursday night Jets. Baltimore was the last time I played in Baltimore.
Okay.
And that was a rough one. I'm not gonna lie, that was one of the ones I was like, man, I kind of wish I was on that sideline.
So the idea of coming out this next Sunday wearing purple at M&T Bank Stadium, like that, I again, as good as it was yesterday, how much even more significant would that be to you?
Yeah, that is going to be the legitimate dream come true. Yeah. So that is, yeah, I mean, on game day, I'm a wild man. I'm a different dude, and I have a lot of energy, a lot of, you know, passion in the way I play. It's what fuels me throughout the game. That one will be. I'm not sure what that feeling will be yet. I don't know if it'll be more of a, almost wanting to cry type of feeling, you know, mama, we made it type of feeling, or more of a, you know, fired up, let's run through a wall type of feeling. But you know, I can't wait. You know, in the words of Bart Scott, can't wait.
Oh my God! All right, what are we plugging? What is going on right now? You always have so much going on that I never know what the priority is in the moment. What can I plug for you at the moment? That's the biggest priority.
Listen, man, I guess we have a Netflix show out there. So By My House, if anybody, you know, hasn't had a chance to check that out, if you like Shark Tank. This is a real estate version of Shark Tank. I'm on there competing with the CEO of Redfin, CEO of the Corcoran Group, and an amazing investor, Denisha Wrightster, and trying to buy people's homes up and invest in real estate. So, yeah, definitely would love people to support that, you know, support Baltimore from that regard. Other than that, man, you know, beyond the basics, we got some announcements coming up soon. about how we're going to, use this platform to continue to support the city. And so, I would just say stay tuned. But in the meantime, I'm just enjoying this run. Again, who knows how long it'll last. I'm taking it a day at a time. But, for right now, I'm a Baltimore Raven, and I'm going to give this city every single thing that I got. And we'll see where it all ends up when the dust settles.
At bcope51 on Twitter is how you follow him. Bro, I really don't have the words to tell you how happy I am for you and how meaningful it is for me to see it play out this way, dude. Serious congratulations, and I can't wait to see what's next. Thank you for hopping on with us this morning, man. Whew. Yo. I got to meet a lot of really good dudes. And I had an overwhelming moment last week with Tyus Bowser when he was so kind and brought me this gift that he didn't need to bring me for any reason. I have been blessed to establish relationships. I never like to say friendships because I try to find a line, right? I always try to find a line. I've kind of openly admitted the line's been crossed with Tyus. He's a friend now. Like, y'all can be mad at me all you want, but I think it's better for me not to lie. Brandon Copeland is everything I could ever ask for in a local athlete. He's one of the most remarkable humans that you will ever come across. In his 20s, he was teaching classes at an Ivy League school. In his 20s. Hell, if he did that in his 60s, it would be amazing. He has never gotten away from this place and how important this place was to him and the opportunities he was given to better himself and doing everything he could possibly do to try to better everyone else. And he didn't hide at all. The humility that you have to show to be this deep into your pro career, to have been as successful as Brandon Copeland has been, and yet to come on publicly here with Rita and I on 105.7, to humble himself and say, I will go try out. I will drive myself back to Baltimore just for the opportunity to try out to make the team. The guy is 10 years into his career. And the humility that he showed. Eric DaCosta, if you're listening, I'm telling you, those were his words. I'll drive myself back just for you to give me a tryout. Because I want to be able to continue my career, and I want to do it coming full circle in the place where I started. And ironically, where he also started his pro career. Because as we talked about a lot, he spent his first pro training camp in Baltimore, having no idea that he was ever going to play in the NFL, more or less last from 2013 now to 2022. And I remember talking to him then. I remember we thought it was like a neat story. This is back on the radio station. We thought it was just this neat story. Like, Brandon Copeland's a neat story. Let's put him on. Like, you're probably not going to make the team, but, like, it's a cool thing. The local kid whose grandson was a great Baltimore Colt. Like, let's have him on. Let's meet him. Let's talk to him. So we put him on, and we had a great chat with him. And I was like, wow, this dude's amazing, which isn't surprising. Someone who comes from an Ivy League school, Gilman background, like, clearly he's an incredible human. But his commitment that if I'm going to succeed, I need to help those in my shoes try to succeed too. I want to bring people with me from my community is overwhelming. And for him to get this opportunity to do it for the team that he grew up watching, he grew up going to games, rooting for, in the same city where his grandfather played. This is why we sports. Do you understand that? This is why we do this. Because every now and then something so small, right? A guy who signed to the practice squad because you're dealing with injuries has the greatest story in the history of time. And they probably don't know about that on ESPN. They probably don't know about that on NFL Network. We've known Brandon Copeland for a long time. We've watched this journey. We've watched him defy the odds. He has sat, not in this studio, but in the last studio we had, 100 times. He wanted to come in. He didn't want to call. You know how easy it is for somebody to just be like, dude, I'll just call in. Brandon Copeland would ask if he could drive in and sit with us for an hour, an entire show. He would call, after Kyle had left the show, he would call Kyle. Hey, man, would Glenn have me on? Really? Would Glenn have you? Yes. I'll always have time for you. There's just something about knowing what it means to that dude. And God, he made plays. Like, he didn't just get out there and run around on a kickoff or something like that. He was a seriously impactful player in the football game yesterday. Y'all can make fun of me for being emotional about it. I don't care. I don't care. You have no idea what it means to me. And I hope that you understand how unique of a Baltimore story this is. This is one of my favorite Baltimore stories. It would have been better, obviously, if Brandon Copeland had been able to play 10 years with the Ravens. That would make it one of the great Baltimore stories of all time. Unfortunately, a lot of the Baltimore guys that ultimately ended up playing for the Ravens over the years were very short-lived, right? Terrence West was very short-lived. Laquan Williams was very short-lived. Cyrus Jones was very short-lived. I'd have to really think about what Baltimore native spent the longest with the Ravens. There's probably somebody I'm just blanking on like an idiot that you're all going to make fun of me later and be like, dude, did you really forget about Larry Webster? But was Larry Webster a Baltimore native, or is he more like a... And he wasn't here for forever either. Larry Webster was Elkton. Yeah, I call it. That's close enough that I would count it, I guess. But yeah, he was here for 5 years. But that's probably the longest, Larry Webster. Probably. And got a Super Bowl title out of it. That's significant. If I had to guess, that would probably, off the top of my head, that would probably be the longest tenure of anyone that was a Baltimore native playing for the Ravens. Such a freaking cool story, man. Just so, it's goosebump stuff, man. That is why you do this. You do this because every now and then something is a little bit different. Something is a little bit special, and it moves you. I am moved by listening to Brandon Copeland talk about how much this meant to him and his family being there. I get jaded. A lot of people call me a cynic. I get annoyed by so many things in this business. But I got to do that today. I got to talk to a young man that I have watched grow up in this sport. He's not that, he's 8 years younger than me. And who cares deeply about this place. And he got to succeed as a Baltimore Raven. It don't get better than that. It does not get better than that. We'll get a tidbit and we'll get two-bit to wrap it up. That's next. It's Glenn Clark Radio. Experience the best in Kamado Grilling, a complete outdoor cooking appliance. The Ginsu Kamado Grill allows anyone to sear, grill, bake, and smoke all types of food. Designed for efficiency and function, the Ginsu Kamado Grill upholds the enduring legacy of the iconic Ginsu brand. The Ginsu Kamado Grill is perfect to cook all year round, is great for parties, and ideal for tailgating with your friends. Reserve your Ginsu Kamado Grill today at ginsugrills.com and get $100 off on your pre-order when you use the promo code good tailgate. That's ginsugrills.com. Reserve yours today.
Stan the Fan here, welcoming back one of my favorite sponsors, the Costas Inn. And everybody around Baltimore knows the Costas Inn is a great place to go and grab crabs, steaks, salads, soups, whatever's on your mind to eat in person. But did you know that the Costas Inn has upped their game? They are now one of the premier takeout places in Baltimore. Give them a call now to order your food, 410-477-1975. That's the Costas Inn over 4100 North Point Boulevard.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
See Olympic athletes in action as the nation's best horses and riders compete in one of the world's premier equestrian events at the Mars Maryland 5-Star at Fair Hill, presented by Brown Academy, October 13th through 16th in Cecil County. Don't miss the breathtaking excitement of the dynamic cross-country competition or the elegance of dressage and precision of show jumping. There's also great shopping and activities, including a fresh food fest, corgi race, and a beer, wine, and spirits showcase. So come enjoy a beautiful fall day at the Mars Maryland 5-Star at Fair Hill, presented by Brown Advisory, October 13th through 16th. Learn more and buy tickets at maryland5star.us.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, Bo Smolka profiles Ravens tight end Mark Andrews' path to NFL stardom, from his late decision to play the sport full-time through having to overcome type 1 diabetes and more. Also, inside, we introduce you to football players at Maryland, Navy, Towson, and Morgan State. And we give you everything you need to know for betting football this season. Press Box is available for free at over 500 area locations, including 60 Royal Farm stores. And you can always find the entire edition, as well as the best daily coverage of demos, Ravens, and Terps at PressBoxOnline.com.
The Baltimore County Police Department is hiring. Entry-level officers start at close to $59,000 a year with a $10,000 bonus. Some restrictions apply. Plus a great retirement plan, medical, dental, and vision insurance, advancement to specialized units, tuition reimbursement, 15 sick days earned per calendar year, and even further incentives for military members and veterans. If you have a passion for service and want a career for life, visit joinbaltimorecountypd.com or call 410-887-5542. You must be a United States citizen, possess a valid driver's license, and have a high school diploma or GED equivalent. The Baltimore County Police Department is an equal opportunity employer.
If you can't listen or watch live, you can subscribe to the show via Spotify, Amazon, or Apple Podcasts. Leave a 5-star review while you're there. Or, if lying isn't your thing, we'll take a 3.5-star review too.
Phew. Man. All right. Cool. All right. Sorry. I'm still feeling it. I'm still in the moment a little bit. That was the good stuff. That was why you do this. That meant a lot to me. Thank you, Brandon Copeland, for joining us this morning, and I'm so happy for him. All right, let's get a tidbit. Tidbit is brought to you today by the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel. That is the place to watch and bet on every game all season long, Thursday nights, Monday nights, Sundays, and, of course, they're offering you free bets right now. You go in, you make a $25 parlay bet at odds 500 to 1 or longer, and when you do that, you can come back the next week and use a $5 free bet on a same-game parlay of odds also 500 to 1 or longer. Whew. Seems simple to me. I mean, you're getting 2 bites at the apple. You're getting 2 chances to strike big. By the way, you understand the bets that, 500 to 1 or more, like even a $5 bet, is going to pay out like at least $25, right? Like, I guess I should say that a little bit louder. It's going to pay out at least $25. Like, you're going to make, if you just get to the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel, get your free bets. Enjoy football season, that 100-foot media wall in front of you. You want to reserve your spot. They get huge crowds. So you want to reserve a table, you want to reserve a reclining chair, email events@sportssocialmd.com. Griffin.
All right. So Albert Pujols, he did reach that old 700 mark over the weekend. And then so Jeremy Frank from @MLB Random Stats on Twitter did he went to StatCast. And so since StatCast has tracked like home run trots, Albert Pujols has averaged about 26 seconds around the bases. Huh. So he went ahead and extrapolated that over his full career. And so Pujols would have spent just over 5 hours of his life running the bases after hitting a home run.
I think I saw that at
You
some
did see
point. And I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Like, it got lost for me over the weekend that he hit number 700. Albert Pujols is one of the great hitters I've ever seen in my entire life. It's remarkable. I don't really have any take to offer. When we talk about these numbers, I don't know who. This is the tricky part, right? And it's the thing I'm struggling with Aaron Judge when people try to say, well, yeah, but he's the first to do it without. Maybe he is, and I don't try to be dismissive of that. It's why I just don't get caught up on it. Anybody with eyes has known that Albert Pujols is one of the great hitters of a baseball. You do have a little bit of a what could have been that sort of sets in with Albert Pujols. Like, what if he had stayed in St. Louis? What if, you have some of that? How much more could he have accomplished in what is already just an amazing career? But yeah, that's funny. It's funny to calculate that.
And then so also Marcus Peters intercepted his 32nd pass since he entered the league in 2015, which is the most in the NFL since 2015. And then Bull Smoko pointed out that is also while missing an entire season last year, that he is still has the lead by 5 interceptions. So the next closest player is 5 behind. So I wanted to know, we could do the long form of this. There are 10 other players that have at least 20 interceptions since 2015. So I was going to go ahead and ask you, can you name as
10?
many of those?
There's really 10?
There are 10 guys that have 20-plus interceptions.
Jalen
Ramsey? No.
That's a little surprising.
That is surprising.
It's more than a bit surprising.
Maybe because I guess he just doesn't get targeted enough, I guess.
I mean, yeah, that's part of the problem when you do this. Is
he has 16.
J.C. Jackson.
There you go. J.C. Jackson is third with 25 interceptions.
He's a terp. Marshawn Lattimore. It's really difficult because I don't know who's targeted this much.
Marshawn Lattimore, not less than 15. Marshawn Lattimore.
Josh Norman?
Not Josh Norman.
Xavier Howard.
Number 2, 27 interceptions for Xavier Howard. So Peters, Howard, and J.C. Jackson are the top 3 since 2015.
Well, at least I got the ones at the top of the list.
Yeah.
Stephon Gilmore.
Stephon Gilmore has 21, so he is in that top 10. Or top 11.
Are they all
top
active?
11.
I guess I should have asked that.
Yes. I believe they all are all active.
Tre'Davious White.
Tre'Davious White is an excellent guess, but he is not in the top 11. He has 16.
Jair Alexander.
There are other Bills on the list, though, not Alexander. Alexander not on there.
There are other Bills. The current Bills that are on. Jordan Poyer?
Yep. Jordan Poyer has 22 interceptions.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are there still more?
Yeah.
Who the hell else? Who am I forgetting about?
The other safety?
Oh, Micah Hyde.
Yes,
yeah,
Micah Hyde has 20 interceptions since 2015.
Darius Slay.
Darius Slay has 20. I was just looking at it. Where'd he go? 23 interceptions for Darius Slay.
Kevin Byard?
Yeah, Kevin Byard is 4th, 24 interceptions for Kevin Byard.
Minka
does not. He only 15 interceptions for Minka.
He sucks. God. Casey Hayward, is he still active?
Casey Hayward, I saw his name. He's not in the top. He has 16 for Casey Hayward.
Hauser.
And yeah, he's with who's he? Oh, he's with the Falcons.
I believe you. I just didn't. How am I supposed to pay attention?
Trying to think. We got.
Is there a Fuller on the list?
There is not a Fuller. No Fullers on this list. We got a current Saint who has
Marcus May.
Not Marcus May. Probably not. He won't be remembered for being a Saint.
Won't be remembered for being a Saint. All right, just tell me.
Tyrann Mathieu has 23.
Oh, piss. Damn it, that's on me. Oh, damn.
Then 3 more that you did not get. Justin Simmons has 21.
Okay, I probably should.
Janoris Jenkins has 20, and Harrison Smith has 20.
I believe it's Jackrabbit Jenkins.
Jackrabbit, right? Yes.
I believe that's what he goes
Old
by.
Jackrabbit.
And Harrison Smith. Those are all guys I could have gotten. I'm mad at myself that I didn't get those guys. None of those are surprising. Damn.
But none as many as Marcus Peters.
That's true. That's
32.
That's a very good point. All right, Tubular is brought to you by the all-new Ginsu Kamado Grill. Again, the Ravens are back at home this Sunday. That means you should stop by the Mother's Tailgate, which is happening at Hammerjacks. I know that's confusing. Just go to Hammerjack, the new Hammerjacks. That's where the Mother's Tailgate is. It's right there on Russell Street. I mean, it's literally right by the stadium. If you want to go, you can go for free. But there is also an all-inclusive option, $49, which includes premium brand open bar and great food. Tickets, details, all available, hammerjacks.com. And when you're there, you can stop by the Press Box Ginsu Grills tent. Griffin is our spokesmodel. He dressed scantily and offers his sausage to your mouth.
Myself or John Colson. I think John will be there this weekend.
Are you not there this week?
I'm not. Well, I'll be out of town this weekend.
Oh, that's right. You're going to whatever. You're going to New York, right?
Yeah.
That's where you're headed. Most games, however, he will be there. But
yes.
This week, it'll be John Colson. The Ginsu Kamado Grill is the perfect ceramic tailgate or home grill to sear, grill, bake, and smoke all kinds of food. Get the details. Reserve yours today. GinsuGrills.com. $100 off if you use the code TAILGATE. Here's what's coming up tonight. We have not spoken about the Orioles because what would we say? They deceive you every now and then. Like for a moment, you're like, man, maybe I cast them aside too early. Nope.
I saw so somebody put out like the top 5 because Baseball Reference does like a game score of like the team, I guess, and so they put out the top 5 games under Brandon Hyde, and so one of them was the no hitter was Means' no hitter. There was another random game where Asher Wojciechowski was pitched really well against the Red Sox, and then the other three were like the past 3, that they.
What could have been? I mean, they had a chance to win both Saturday and Sunday, and if they had done that, they would be within 3. They would be within 2.
Yeah, they would have to
be within 2
because the Royals helped us out.
Ended up beating Seattle. Yes, they'd be within 2 games of a playoff spot, and they were both. I get it, it's the Astros, but they were both very winnable games. Mm-hmm. It's a bummer. Orioles Red Sox tonight, 7:00 on Masson 2. Jordan Lyles and Connor Siebold. The rest of the baseball tonight, Masson 1 has Braves Nationals at 7:00. MLB Network, Yankees Blue Jays at 7. So if you are invested in the Aaron Judge thing, you can watch that. Obviously, Monday Night Football, Cowboys Giants at 8:15 on ESPN. Is it ESPN and ABC all season long? Are they doing both?
I guess so, as long as there's not something else
that's
going on.
I didn't
and
know
plus
that
ESPN too, because
but that's the Manning thing. That's a different. But they're doing the regular broadcast on ESPN and ABC, I guess, all season. Fox Sports 1, UEFA Nations League this afternoon. England and Germany at 2:30. There is exhibition hockey going on. I did not realize that started over the weekend.
Wow.
It is back. I'm going to avoid, unless it's the Capitals, I'm not going to tell you about it, but you can find it at glennclarkradio.com and the USA Network for WWE Monday Night Raw tonight at 8. Some non-sports highlights?
Really not nothing.
Not nothing?
Yeah, really
it's
nothing.
A double negative, right?
Nick Kroll's going to be on Jimmy Fallon. He's got a Netflix special coming out tomorrow.
Well, he is also in Don't Worry.
Yeah, he is in Don't Worry, Darling as well. Bernie Sanders is going to be on Seth Meyers.
Sure. Why not?
And then there's the only new show is out on Hulu. It's called Chefs vs. Wild. And that series premieres tonight or today on Hulu. And so you have 2 world-class chefs that are dropped into the wilderness. And they have to find supplies to put together a 5-star worthy meal.
Okay. No. No. That is hack. That is contrived. No is the answer to that.
Well,
thank you. No, thank you. Anything else?
Nope, that is it.
Very good.
Those are the highlights, at least. Yeah.
Thanks today to Brandon Copeland. Thanks also to Keith Mills and to Jeremy Conn. We'll get all that up in the greatest hits section of the tab at glennclarkradio.com. Tomorrow, Chris Canty scheduled to join us. I love that.
Clark Judge.
Clark Judge, yep, love Clark. Chris Canty was on the call for the Ravens game over the weekend. We'll figure out what he thinks about it all. And, of course, Joe Serpico will help us set up Waiver Wire Wednesday. And we'll get you Simply the Bets tomorrow as well. Thanks to everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including Glory Days Grill, Royal Farms, Casas Inn, Maryland Lottery, Guilford Hall Brewery, the Great Eights Memorabilia, the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland, the Baltimore County Police Department, Maryland Vascular Specialist, the all-new Ginsu Grill, the Baltimore Orioles, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Follow us, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great Monday evening. Go Birds anyway. Duke sucks. Ohio State sucks too.